whole thing is so crazy. But it'll be the biggest tax increase in history if we don't get it. And that's why the Republicans can do it, but they have to stick together. And I think they are, from what I understand, really sticking together. I want to thank also Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and John Thune, leaders John Thune. They have been working together and with the senators and the Congress, men and women, and I think they've got something that's really, it's big league, and it's very important. The biggest bill ever, if we get it done, and I think we will. For decades, Selfridge Air National Guard Base has stood as a crucial pillar of North American air defense, just 20 miles north of Detroit, where you're going to have a lot of car factories opening very soon, by the way, I might add, with access to the largest military airspace complex east of the Mississippi. Selfridge is tightly integrated with the National All-Domain Warfighting Center. This airfield saw its first military takeoff all the way back in 1917. Can you believe that? Wow, wouldn't that have been a shame to close this great history for something else that wouldn't be as good? The Tuskegee Airmen trained here during World War II, and generations of Michigan patriots have served here with great distinction. Unfortunately, that proud legacy was put at risk by the retirement of the key aircraft based here, in particular the A-10 Thunderbolt II Warthog, which I hear is an incredible plane. I hear is an incredible plane. It's too bad. It's a long time it's been up there. I said, why don't we save it? I actually said that last time, and we did save it. I said that in my last term, and we did save it, but now it's coming to an end. But I hear the Warthog is incredible. And we have support aircraft and also the KC-135 Strata tankers. In recent years, many in Michigan have feared for the future of the base. They've been calling everybody, but the only one that mattered was Trump. They called Trump, and we got it done, which represents $850 million in economic impact across the state of Michigan, and probably it could be much more than that as we expand it out, and creates thousands and thousands of good and important jobs, both in the military and civilian jobs. So Gretchen, that's a big economic, you're not going to have too many economic development jobs like that. It's great. But today I've come in person to lay to rest any doubts about Selfridge's future and the vital role it'll play in our national defense. As Commander-in-Chief, I'm proud to announce that very soon we will replace the retiring A-10 Warthogs with 21 brand new F-15EX Eagle II fighter jets, the best in the world, fresh off the line. Brand new. And they have an expression, you know what that means, fresh off the line. That means they are brand new. They've never been anywhere. This is where they're going to be for a long time. And I saw one of them flew over my head, and I said, what the hell is that? That plane has serious power. So this is the best there is anywhere in the world, the F-15EX Eagle II. This will keep Selfridge at the cutting edge of Northern American air power. My administration will also continue with plans to replace the outgoing KC-135s and KC-46 Pegasus aircraft to continue that important refueling mission. And they'll be restocked with brand new top-of-the-line refuelers. For generations, the men and women of Selfridge have always been here, and they've always been for us. Whether you're Republican or you're Democrat, they've always been for us. They've been for America. And under the Trump administration, we're going to be there for you. The previous administration was willing to surrender Air National Guard fighter units across the country by retiring aircraft that were not being replaced. We are replacing. But under the Trump administration, we're correcting that injustice, and that starts right here in Michigan, where we have a big commitment to Michigan and to the state, even beyond this. This is an exciting time for the United States military. Since November, enlistment numbers for every branch of the armed forces have surged. Recruitment is now the highest it's been in 39 years. Now, if you remember that, you better hold on to those jobs or somebody will take them. Somebody will take those jobs so fast. Hold on to those jobs. Don't leave that job. Who would have thought? Because prior to November 5th, which is Election Day, I was hearing that recruitment was so bad, it was so impossible, it was hard to get people. And this goes not only for the armed forces, for the police, for firemen. People are proud of our country again. Big difference. But we had the worst numbers that we've ever had virtually. We couldn't get anybody, and now we're overstocked. We have waiting lists of people wanting to sign up and be with the military. They're proud of our country again. And I'll be supporting a record-setting $1 trillion investment in our national defense. We're going to go $1 trillion, the largest in the world, largest ever in our country, but no other country's invested that much. We have a $1 trillion budget for military this year, and we have tremendous plans, including increasing the scope of Selfridge. And I recently signed an order to begin construction of the Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland from missile attack. We're going to call it the Golden Dome. We had the Iron Dome, but somehow, Gretchen, Golden Dome sounds better to me. I don't know. Maybe it's not. What do you like better, Golden Dome or Iron Dome? What do you like better? Golden. Let's have a vote. Golden Dome. Oh, no, I think we're in trouble. Oh. How about the Iron Dome? Good. Keep it. That's good. Because we made all the changes already. It'll be a little bit. Even the renderings look very golden, but beautiful. No, it's going to be incredible. The latest and the greatest. A lot of it's going to be made in Michigan. A lot of it is going to be made. The Golden Dome. You know, other countries have it. In particular, Israel has it, and we have a much more advanced, and theirs is very good. We helped do it. We did it. But we have an advanced version now that really is incredible what it does. We had a case study of 169. Out of 169, every one of them just shut down. And I think we're entitled to it, don't you? I think we're entitled to it as a country. America's military will soon be stronger and more powerful than ever before, and Selfridge Air National Guard Base will remain at the center of the action. And I just want to say we're building some of the greatest submarines and various other ships, but submarines in particular, we have a monopoly on great submarines. We're building the greatest in the world, most powerful machine ever built. And we're doing some things that are just incredible. In one way, you hate to do it, but in another way, you really have no choice. And we're fighting very hard on the China front and the Russia front with Ukraine and what's happening in the Middle East, and a lot of good things. You're going to be hearing a lot of good things. It's a shame. When I left office not so long ago, we had no wars. We defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. It was supposed to take 5 years, they told me. Sir, it's going to take about 5 years. We did it in 3 weeks. Raising Cain, he's now your top, he's your top person. He's the head of the Joint Chiefs. And I did that because he was the one. He said, sir, we can do it in 3 weeks. I said, 3 weeks? They told me 5 years. No, sir. You can do it in 3 weeks, sir. And I said, let's see if you can do it. And he did it. He had a little time left over, actually. And ISIS was gone, totally defeated. And he's the man we wanted. That's the man I said, if I do this again, I'm going to put that guy in charge, because he did things that nobody else was able to do. And nobody else even thought it or even suggested. So I'm very proud to have him head up the whole military operation, along with Pete and some other great people. So I just want to say that Michigan, it's been my great honor to be here. I've had tremendous success in Michigan. Not all Republicans have, but I have. And not just this time either. We did tremendously well in 2020, and we did incredibly well in 2016. In 2016, they said it couldn't be won. It couldn't be won, but we won, and we won by a lot. So it's a special place, and I don't forget my friends, and Michigan's been my friend. And I want to just thank everybody here. I want to congratulate you, actually, because there are a lot of people wanted this to happen to their neck of the woods. but it's happening for you. So congratulations, and God bless you all. God bless our military, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Congratulations, everybody. Congratulations.
Only because the Commander-in-Chief invited me. Mr. President, thank you for restoring the warrior ethos inside our formations, for rebuilding our military, reestablishing deterrence around the world, and making Americans proud to wear the uniform. That recruiting surge we're seeing right now is because they know they have a Commander-in-Chief that has their back. That's my message to these men and women every single place we go. All I ever wanted when I was in combat was to know that my commander had my back, no matter what. And with Donald J. Trump, that commander has your back. And that means something to the men and women of America, and that's why we're seeing a record surge in recruiting. That's why we're locking down our southern border. That's why our enemies know we mean business, because we have a Commander-in-Chief that has our back, and he has the back of this base as well. God bless you all. Thank you.
Well, I hadn't planned to speak, but I'm on behalf of all the military men and women who serve our country and serve so honorably on behalf of the state of Michigan. I am really damn happy we're here to celebrate this recapitalization at Selfridge. It's crucial for the Michigan economy. It's crucial for the men and women here, for our homeland security and our future. So thank you. I'm so grateful that this announcement is made today. And I appreciate all the work. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's because of your leadership this is happening. No one else could save Selfridge. We've tried for decades. It took you, Mr. President. This is why the people of Michigan elected you, sir. You have not forgetting us. This is the first time in decades where we can all say Selfridge is winning. We are winning because of you, President Trump, and I know all of these troops here will not let you down with this new fighter mission, which will keep Selfridge Air National Guard base thriving for the next 30 to 40 years. Thank you, Mr. President, for remembering us and keeping your commitment when we saw you in Washington a few weeks ago. Thank you, sir.
Well, Mr. President, thank you for coming to Macomb County. Thank you for coming to Michigan. And thank you for providing another important service of the F-15X. This means that these folks are going to be continuing on the mission for America for the coming decades. Because of your leadership, America's back again, Macomb's back again, Michigan's back again, and Selfridge will be leading the way. Thank you, Mr. President, for showing that leadership.
All right, President Trump's first stop in Michigan complete there at the National Guard as he continues to talk about the work there of Selfridge and extending the air base there for the National Guard for some 30 to 40 years, as you just heard there from the gentleman that just spoke right after President Trump. So once again, everyone, we will be bringing you the next event out in Macomb County. It will be more of a rally form for President Trump, and we will be bringing that to you in full when that does get going in just a little bit. That is expected in the next hour or so. So we'll be having that for you, of course, as always, on Live Now. We'll take a 2-minute break and be back with some other top stories, live feeds, all on Live Now from Fox.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a website on Wix.
Hey, we're How Ridiculous, 3 childhood friends and digital content creators that do epic stuff from Perth, Australia.
We've got about 50 million followers. We're in the billions of views, and we're a small team. We always felt like our content was all about entertainment and being fun, but there was also this, sort of professional business side. One of the things that we knew was basically essential was getting our own website, so people would actually see a proper official group who mean business and who can deliver. And we now get unbelievable opportunities to do things like film balloon popping races with Manchester City. I don't know all the things that we're going to get to do in the next year or 5 years, but if we can do this as a job, anything's possible.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Always great to be with you as we continue to feature some of the biggest days, top stories, and live feeds from all over the country. Coming up in just moments, my colleague Andy Mack will be with you for the next couple of hours. And we will also, of course, be featuring President Trump's rally speech out in Macomb County, Michigan, highlighting his first 100 days in office for his second term. Let's go out to D.C., though, at near the Capitol, where there's a rally for federal workers going on right now.
Act up, fight back, stop Trump. 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 Act up. An attack on one is an attack on all. An attack on one is an attack on all. Attack on one is an attack on all. An attack on one is an attack on all. An attack on one is an attack on all. An attack on one is an attack on all. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Machinists united will never be divided. 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 Machinists act up. 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 IAM 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 act up. Woo! Brothers and sisters, I am here to support. I am here to support federal workers. For almost 20 years, I have been coming here every year to support our causes, whether it's railroad workers, government workers, woodworkers, aerospace. And in 2019, the same president shut down the government, and we suffered 35 days out on the street. I was chosen by my local lodge down in Cape Canaveral, Florida, to come up to speak about it. And what? Really? Thank you, brother. Speak in the really helped me was when I got here and we had that rally. And our president, GDP at the time, we spoke at the rally. I was amazed that all the people that I had supported in the past, the government workers, the woodworkers, the aerospace workers, the airlines, every one of them were there at that rally. A huge rally for us. So that is why I am here. This is probably my last year. I retired, but
You ain't done.
you retired, we're gonna put you back to work. The torch is passed to all of the work you young people.
That's me.
Because that was me 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So please, go back to the shop floor and tell them that attack on one.
Attack on all. Attack on one.
Keep the faith, fight the fight. We are the fighting machinists. Brothers and sisters, are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? Like I said earlier, brothers and sisters, attack on one federal worker is attack on all workers. We rely on federal workers every day
Tell us.
for critical resources,
That's right.
critical needs.
Bring it out.
They are there for us, so it's now time for us to be there for them.
Tell us the truth, brother. Speak the truth.
The truth is all we have, brothers and sisters.
That's
And
it.
this administration has said that they want to put a bullseye on your back. They want to get rid of 1 million federal workers.
No
What do we
way.
say? What do we say? The Machinists Union, the IM, and NEPI will fight like hell to protect every federal worker's job. Because it's federal workers today and it's private sector workers tomorrow.
Yes.
We are one union, we are one moment, we are one cause.
Tell us,
And
brother.
that's to protect workers' rights.
That's right.
Whether you're a federal worker or a private sector worker.
Bring it
We are
on.
all in this together, brothers and
That's
sisters.
it. Bring it on. Hell no, we won't go.
Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. Now, we're getting ready to hear from our dynamic international president, our leader, our champion, the man who's on the front line for the fight for federal workers. He's going to address you all again. And then we're going to hear from NEPI's president. And then we're going to hear from some more members of Congress who support us. Now, these members of Congress are not friends of the IM. They are allies of the IM. Because see, brothers and sisters, in this town, the friends are the ones who screw you. Your allies are with you through thick and thin. And so we're going to support these allies because they support us. Federal workers are the backbone of the labor movement.
Tell us,
There is
brother.
a concerted effort on Capitol Hill by the radical right to do away with organized labor.
That's right. That's right.
They know that public sector workers are the largest section of union workers in this country.
That's
If
right.
they do away with them, they do away with us.
That's right.
So, with that being said, now is the time to hear from our leader, to hear from our champion, to hear from our international president, Brian Bryant. Thank you, Hassan. I am union. I am union. I am union. I am union. Thank you, sisters, brothers, I am family. Guests here today. We are here for two specific reasons. First of all, thank you to all of the federal workers out there, the civil servants that do the amazing work here across this country. Putting out the forest fires in the summertime, taking care of our vets, whether you're a doctor or nurse, all the federal employees. You see, there's something happening in this country right now that's absolutely disgusting. And that's what marginalizing and criticizing federal employees for the work that they do for this country. They're trying to turn the American public against them. And we're here today to let the American public know that the civil service workers are not the problem in this country. They are the solution. They're the ones that defend us. They're the ones giving us our Social Security. They're the ones, like I said, helping our vets in the VA homes.
Tell it like it
The
is.
Department of Defense, the Forestry.
Speak
We're
the
here to
truth.
say thank you to them.
Speak the truth.
Because they need to know that they have allies that are thankful for the work that they do. For the American public, not only here in Washington, D.C., but all across this country. Thank you very much.
Tell us.
We stand behind you.
Tell us.
Federal workers matter.
Tell us.
We're here this week.
Tell us.
Sisters, brothers, family, we are here this week to change the perception because we've got allies in Congress and some of them are here with us today.
Speak the truth.
There's some strays out there. There's some strays out there that need to hear from
Round
every
them
one of
up.
us.
Yeah, round
Where we
them up.
stand on federal workers.
Round them
Federal
up.
workers deserve to have unions.
Round them up. Round them up.
Federal workers have the ability to collectively bargain with this employer. The federal government. It was started in the 60s under an executive order by President Kennedy, and it was cauterized in 1978 with a law that was passed defending the right for federal workers to form and join unions. We're going to be here this week to remind members of Congress and the Senate. They need to remember that.
What's the law?
They need to remember that.
What's the law?
This is the law. They have a legal right to do this.
Our amendment rights.
And we're not going to sit back. We're not going to sit back. The
No.
IAM is not going to sit back.
We're gonna
and
fight.
let this happen to federal workers.
Hell
We have
no.
the back. We want the American public
We're
to have
gonna
the back.
fight.
We know we got
We're
City
gonna
Hall
fight.
has our back. All the
We're
members of
gonna fight.
Congress and the Democratic Party, they've got the back here. We
We're
got
gonna
to
make it work for us.
Republicans over to this side. Because
We're
let me
gonna
tell
make
you
it
what,
work.
their members in their districts are going to be drastically affected by the
That's right.
actions that this administration is
That's
taking.
right. That's
We
right.
need to stand
Tell
up.
the
We need
truth.
to tell those individuals of Congress and Senate
You're
that what
doing
this
it.
administration is doing
Tell
is
that
not only
truth.
hurting, it's hurting these workers, but most
Speak
importantly, it's
the
hurting the American public. That's why we're here today.
Speak the right.
Thank you very much. We stand with
Yeah.
federal workers. I'm proud to stand with federal workers. The IAM is proud to stand with federal workers. We will have your back. Is Maryland in the house? Maryland in the house? Let's hear it from City Hall. If you want to be on the team, wear the shirt. Are there any villains in this room?
No. Only heroes.
You know how many people walk through those doors? They walk out here, they get a bus, they take an Uber, they take a taxi, whatever they do, and they go to work for
The
the
working
American people.
Our people.
Now, I heard President Bryan speaking as I was coming up here. I was so shocked that the president of the IAM would be so outspoken, so tough,
Don't be shocked.
so forward-leaning,
Yes.
so for working men and women.
Yes.
He's with
He's with us.
He's
He's our
with us.
president. He's
He's
our
with us.
president.
One hell of a fighting union.
Hell
leader.
Yes.
And they know what I know and you know,
Yes.
that we're in this together.
The people.
Because we know we have an administration who does not want to pay people,
Damn
who
right.
does not want to treat people as if they are people.
That's right.
Damn right.
We have an OMB director who says he wants everybody to come to be seen as a villain.
Yeah.
He wants to have people so distraught by their jobs that they don't want to come to work.
No way. No
That's
way.
the organization that says it wants to bring efficiency to the
Boo.
federal government. Any way to be less efficient than to make the morale of your people who work for you and do the job on the floor.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
congratulate National Federation of Federal Employees. Son, of course, is a low-key, laid-back guy. Not only are they firing over 50,000 people. Now, let me tell you something. There was a lot of study how to fire people. There was not one study done as to what that means to the American people.
That's right.
Unjust.
Unjust.
Shame.
No justice.
Shame. You're right.
We're not talking about just people. That's the problem.
That's right.
That's why we
That's
have to be fired up and ready to fight.
Yes, sir.
That's why we're fired
That's why
up.
we have to understand. Now, let me tell you what the budget is sending down from this president. Not only is it a zero raise for federal employees, he wants to cut $50 billion additional dollars from their salary.
83,000 VA employees he wants to cut.
Amen, sister. So I'm here with all of you because we're in solidarity. There's a solidarity camp over there. Solidarity means a lot to working people.
Yes.
Because what they know is alone, they can't get the boss to do anything.
Yeah.
But together, joined arm in arm, hand in hand, heart to heart, you can make a difference.
Yes.
So the federal employees who have been with all of you through the years need you now very badly.
Yes.
Because the union is strong.
Yes. Strong.
The union is united.
Yes. Strong.
And we are going to be united in fighting this on the floor of the Congress,
Damn
fighting
right.
in front of the Union Station,
Damn
fighting
right.
in the streets and community halls of our
Yes.
district.
Yeah.
And we are going to win this battle
Yeah.
for the people.
Yeah.
God bless the people. Keep fighting.
Yeah, be real.
A little bit brief too, because I just got one thing to say here. There's no democracy without the labor movement. There's no labor movement without democracy. And we don't have democracy if we have lawbreakers in office who don't follow the Constitution of the United States. We're gathered here in front of
All right, you're just listening in there to Representative Jamie Raskin in Washington, D.C., outside of this rally for federal workers. You can see plenty of different rallies taking place across the country. This comes as President Trump marking 100 days in office. I'm Andy Mack now here in the anchor chair. Thanks to my colleague Mike Page for guiding you the last several hours. Coming up within the hour, we'll hear from President Trump one more time at this rally. He was there with the Michigan National Guard. Right now, it's a rally to mark these 100 days. Plenty to get to in just a little bit. Let's take a quick 2-minute timeout.
The LG CounterDepth Max refrigerator with zero clearance. Max out your space, max out your style.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. In under an hour, we're expecting to hear from President Trump as he marks 100 days in office. And that is really the benchmark as we continue to follow it for so many presidents. If they lived up to what they promised along the campaign trail, and notably, it was the final campaign stop for then obviously nominee Trump as he stopped in Grand Rapids, Michigan on the final day on the eve of Election Day. And he will also mark the 100 days in office there just north of Detroit in Macomb County as we're following it here on Live Now from Fox. Like I mentioned, less than an hour until he's expected to take the stage. We'll see how close to being on time he is. Let's be joined right now by our Fox 2 team, reporter Dave Kinchin on the ground on the risers at this rally. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. What can you tell us about what we may hear tonight at this event?
Well, I tell you, this is where President Trump had at least two of his rallies here in the area of Macomb Community College, Warren, Michigan. This is an area that goes way back to the Reagan Democratic era. Macomb County, a big part of the Trump base, the MAGA base here in the Wolverine State. Now, we do know that President Trump really has a whole tour across Michigan today. He was speaking at Suffrage Air National Guard Base where he announced there's a joint announcement with the Democratic governor, and we can go to some video now of President Trump arriving, an announcement of a key fighter jet mission there. Suffrage A&G is huge for Michigan, not just for jobs, but for national security matters there. So that's a big announcement. They've been trying to get that done for a long, long time here. Also, as the president is set to speak at around 6 o'clock, maybe later tonight, marking his 100 days in office for his second term. Another big story coming out concerning Michigan and the Midwest, the auto industry, the Trump administration easing back on those 25% tariffs on auto parts and cars. That's been a big thing here, as many auto lots have been set to run out of inventory. There's been a major concern about the big three, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis, which owns the Chrysler brand, concerns about new cars, prices and parts going up, certainly with the tariffs mixed in there. So, and easing back on the tariffs, the administration says to give more time for the automakers to relocate more of their production back to the U.S. But it was that big announcement on that fighter jet mission that we just heard the president mention. Let's go to some of that sound and listen in.
Recently, because I heard about it recently from some people, including your governor, who has done a very good job. She came to see me. That's the reason she came to see me, by the way, to save Selfridge. And she was very effective, along with some of the other politicians and some of the military people. They love this place. They love what it stands for, all the victories they've had here over the years. So I want to thank Governor Gretchen Whitmer for bringing it also to our attention very strongly. And, you know, I'm not supposed to do that. She's a Democrat. They say, don't do that. Don't have her here. I said, no, she's going to be here. She's done a very good job, frankly, and she was very much involved with the Republicans. They worked together on saving it, and it was not easy. So I want to thank you very much, Gretchen. Good job. Thank you.
And Matt Hall, the Republican Speaker of the House here in Michigan, also joining the governor of Michigan, a Democrat, and the president for that announcement. Again, we're waiting for President Trump to deliver that campaign-style rally here, going back to the old campaign days. Feels like a lifetime ago, of course, when Michigan was really in the balance. It was within the statistical margin of error, the 7 battleground states. Of course, the former president, now current president, winning all of those battlegrounds, now coming back to Michigan as people still want to hear more about how to lower the cost of living. The tariffs have increased the cost of many things, and the president did say there was going to be some temporary disruption, but economically, but we'll have to see what happens there. Reporting live, we'll send it right back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Dave. It's so very interesting as we talked about it. You mentioned the campaign-style rally. Detroit, Michigan as a whole has been at the crosshairs of some of these tariffs, some of the issues that have arose over the first 100 days. Can you talk about the feeling in the room? Obviously, there was so much support as he won the popular vote, won that electoral college vote, the 7 swing states. How much still support is there in that room in Michigan for President Trump?
Well, there's certainly a lot. I mean, certainly a lot of the diehards here who have been with President Trump since the beginning here in Macomb County and across Michigan. I did speak with one local party official who did say that he was calling people hoping they can get this room filled. So I'm not sure if that was really a tongue-in-cheek remark because of the support that has really been there for the former now current president, of course. But again, there are a lot of concerns about general cost of living and that sort of thing. And most folks we've talked to say that they've been watching these tariffs and they've been waiting patiently to see how those jobs will come back to Michigan, especially for the auto industry. There's a faction of the overwhelmingly Democratic United Auto Workers, a big faction that supports President Trump, and they say they're standing by to see that production come back, to see those jobs come back. And they say they're waiting patiently, and they're still standing by their man, in their words.
Yeah, and there's also a big point as we saw Gretchen Whitmer, the Democratic governor there, alongside President Trump earlier on today. And she has certainly received some of the ire of President Trump over the last several years, but them working together. I want to put up a post from Gretchen Whitmer saying, "I'll work with anyone who's serious about getting things done, but I'll never compromise on what I believe. In Michigan, we know how to get things done and what it means to work together." It's very interesting to see them alongside one another. We saw her in Washington, D.C. recently during these first 100 days. Can you describe how that relationship, she's term limited, so she won't have another term in office as the governor of Michigan. Can you describe the relationship and how they're working so well together right now?
Yeah, sure. Well, you know, what the governor's press team was quick to point out, she's not here. She's not coming to this rally and has no plans on coming to this 100 days rally. Her team says the governor still and has been vocal about many of her disagreements with President Trump and the White House. The governor has said in interviews I've done with her, she's not looking for a fight, but she said she's not going to run from one either. Even on tariffs, there is some common ground there. The governor's been clear she does not want to hurt Canada. Southwestern Ontario is such a huge part of the auto industry. Many workers, of course, many of the auto production taking place in the Ontario region. So there's a lot of concern about that. So yeah, there's still many differences between the two, but she says where they can work together, they certainly will do so. But she's standing by her views, no doubt about that as well.
All right, it's very, very interesting. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. Any parting words, anything else you want to note about this 100 days rally? We know it's the benchmark for so many presidents. Anything else you're looking forward tonight?
Well, it's just going to be key for the auto industry. I think, you know, a lot of auto workers here, that's the bedrock of Michigan. That's the bedrock of the Midwest, the auto jobs, auto parts, the suppliers, the OEMs, tier 1, tier 2. They're still in a fragile state after COVID, after the chip crisis, and that UAW strike. The first time the UAW struck all 3 domestic automakers. So any word in addition to the easing of tariffs, I think a lot of people are going to really want to hear about that tonight.
All right, very good. And that was a key component to the election, was those support of the unions, including there in Michigan. Dave, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. You're on Live Now from Fox. Great reporting.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. We're going to continue on here live now from Fox. Great conversation there as we are about T-minus 40 minutes or so. That was the time slated as a 6 p.m. Eastern rally in Macomb County there at that community college to mark 100 days in office for President Trump. A live picture right now there as we were talking about it, the tariffs and obviously the auto industry getting a little bit of a reprieve today in terms of what we're hearing from President Trump, from the Treasury Secretary Bessent about all of this. For more on this right now, let's go out to Mark Meredith, who has this report here on Live Now from Fox on what we could see, what we're talking about, those automakers and the tariffs as a whole.
President Trump marked 100 days in office by defending his trade policies. This only hours after criticizing Amazon for considering but not implementing plans to show customers how much prices are up due to tariffs.
This is a hostile and political act by Amazon.
The controversy came to a head Tuesday morning when Trump called Amazon founder Jeff Bezos to complain. The company quickly clarified, saying it was never a serious plan.
Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly, and he did the right thing.
But the debate over tariffs remains. Americans may soon feel the impact of the U.S.'s 145% tariff on Chinese exports. Chinese retailer Temu is now displaying import charges at checkout, sometimes doubling a product's price.
Trump's reckless tariffs are going to make high price of groceries, gas, housing, utilities, clothing, electronics, and other essential goods even worse.
Meanwhile, the White House is offering some relief to automakers amid concerns the tariffs will raise prices and threaten jobs. The president reducing import taxes on some car parts made outside the country for use in American-made cars.
We're just giving them a little chance because in some cases they can't get the parts fast enough. So this is just a little transition.
There'll be a lot more focus on the economy on Wednesday when the president will host multiple CEOs at the White House for an event focused on investing in America. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
All right, thank you so much. All eyes on Michigan there, just north of Detroit, for this rally to mark 100 days for President Trump as Michigan, the Wolverine state, like you heard from our Fox 2 team, Dave Kinchin, talking about it being a key swing state in the election. It was a sweep for President Trump to solidify his spot back in the Oval Office. Now 100 days in, marking some of these benchmarks. We'll see if there's any comments about the auto workers, about the new information coming down about that tonight. All right, I'm Andy Mack. You're on Live Now from Fox. Let's slide away for a quick 2-minute break. More top headlines after this.
No matter how you travel, it's good to have a plan. Some people plan every minute. No sleep, bus, museum, another museum, while others only plan to take it day by day. When it comes to your finances, a plan is just as important. You can count on Credit Karma to give you the insights you need to understand your options, so you can take charge of your financial path and find your way to money. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on. Download the app today.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. In just over half an hour, we'll take you back out to Detroit, Michigan, as there will be a rally there for President Trump as he marks 100 days in office. I do want to put up just this, a live picture inside of the venue right now. Plenty of people on hand for this at a campaign-style event as we have followed it in full since that inauguration day back on the chilly January 20th. Morning in Washington, D.C. Now, as spring has sprung there in the Wolverine state, We'll get more on what this means. We'll hear conversations about tariffs, about auto workers, and much, much more. We also have seen polling from Fox News about some of the approval ratings as they have dipped due to some of the issues with the tariffs, although there might be some end in sight to those. We already seen potentially one deal in place. They're saying conversations and confidence with a deal with India could be a major factor to that. All right, let's take you right now out to the other side as there are protesters outside of this rally there in Michigan. We see our Fox 2 team on the ground. Let's listen into what they're saying in opposition of this rally, in opposition of President Trump here on Live Now.
Can't even show them on TV, but they're great because they really hit it right on the need. Yeah.
But it's still not enough. We still need more people out, especially the young people.
You would like to see more young folks out here?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was going to say it is a little more mature crowd, I'll say.
Hey, we're not working. We're able to do this. You know, the young people have to make some money.
Yeah, right.
So.
How do you guys feel about, the president's first 100 days and what you've seen so far?
Scary, absolutely frightening.
There's been nothing good about it.
Say that again, Em?
Nothing good about his first 100 days. He wasn't even, he was just, the first day, that's what I'm trying to say, the first day of his tenure, he said, I think I'll do this for 4 more years after this. And the man has no basis in reality.
What about you? What do you think?
Many other people that realize that.
Any thoughts? I know.
Oh, no, I mean, what more can you say? I mean, the man is dangerous. His people are dangerous. Stephen Miller, I mean, he separated families at the border. I mean, these people have no empathy, no feeling, no anything toward any of us here. I mean, they're dangerous people.
All right, just listening in there to some detractors of the president on hand outside of this rally there in Macomb County in Michigan. As you can see, a live picture right now inside of the venue, about half an hour until this is expecting to begin. And of course, as we follow this here on Live Now from Fox, we're also keeping our eyes north of the border in Canada as they have elected a new prime minister. And we're also following the latest on a tragedy over the weekend in Vancouver. You can see a live picture right now as the police expecting to give a remark after 11 people losing their lives at this car ramming incident tragedy at that street festival, the Filipino street festival, the Lapu-Lapu Day Festival on Saturday night. All right, I'm Andy Mack here on Live Now from Fox. More top headlines here after this 2-minute break.
Style her with love. Shop the Mother's Day sale, only at Kay.
Those with Robinhood Gold can enjoy a 3% IRA match. Tremendous.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. As we continue to follow the latest, as President Trump marks 100 days in office for Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, he will be embarking upon his journey. Day number 1 coming up after what we saw last night in the election. A post here saying, "Thank you, Canada. Our strength lies in our resolve to work together. United, we will build Canada strong." As Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal Party won a 4th straight federal election yesterday, and it was a come-from-behind victory. In fact, the Liberals trailed Canada's Conservative Party by 25 points just 3 months ago. We're going to be joined now in Toronto, Canada, by Fox's Kaylee Schuyler. Kaylee, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And some are saying President Trump's the reason Canada took a hard left turn down this home stretch.
Hi, Andy Mack. Well, one expert says that the comeback win is the most dramatic political swing in Canada's history. Carney didn't have a background in politics when the Liberals picked him to replace Justin Trudeau last month, but voters are taking a gamble on the former Central Baker that he's the man for the moment and the leader to stand up to President Trump.
He's also, it must be said, really boring. But this is a moment in history when boring works. And the loud, brash approach of Pierre Poilievre was well suited to the politics of just a few months ago. It was ill suited to the politics of today.
Leader Pierre Poilievre actually lost his seat in Parliament last night, ending his nearly 2-decade tenure. So that will complicate his plans to remain Conservative Party leader. But his once dominant campaign slipped when Trudeau resigned and Trump threatened Canada with annexation and tariffs. And suddenly, excitement for the Liberals came roaring back. Now, Carney was celebrating last night, but there is still some work to do because even though he's been declared prime minister, votes are still being counted and the Liberals haven't secured a majority in Parliament yet. They're currently 3 seats shy of the 172 they need, so Carney potentially might have to do some negotiating with the opposition. But he's also planning for negotiations with President Trump and what those talks could mean for Canada's future.
When I sit down with President Trump, it will be to discuss the future economic and security relationship between 2 sovereign nations. When I sit down,
the Prime Minister's office released this afternoon that Trump and Carney did talk on the phone this afternoon, and Trump congratulated him. But it doesn't seem like Carney's win is changing Trump's tune when it comes to Canada. A White House spokesperson says that Trump still plans to make Canada the, quote, cherished 51st state. Andy Mack.
And we've seen some of those conversations restarted about that 51st state. Now Canada has a new prime minister. He obviously has a lot on his hands in terms of Parliament, but also the relationship with President Trump and the United States. Kaylee Schuyler, thank you so much for your reporting here on Live Now.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, great, interesting conversation there as we were following it very closely out of Canada as Mark Carney there officially installed as the new prime minister as the Liberal Party won the 4th straight election yesterday. All right, we're seeing right now here on Live Now for Fox, Vancouver police just stepping to the podium to detail the latest after unrest was made following the tragedy of a car ramming at a festival over the weekend. Let's listen into this live event here on Live Now from Fox.
Investigators from our organized crime section, our general investigation section, our special investigations section, our forensic video unit, and others. We have identified more than 200 witnesses, and we are in the process of contacting all of those witnesses. Due to the sheer number of them, it is taking time. We are working hard to contact and to speak to all witnesses, but it will take time. We're conducting a video canvass, and that video canvass spans a radius of 25 blocks. It's a very large area. We're following up on 43 tips that have been called in to our homicide hotline, 604-717-2500. And so far, we've received 51 submissions to our video portal. We've established this portal. We've linked it at vpd.ca. We've also posted it to our socials with a QR code. Anybody who is in the area who has video or still photos from the crime scene, from the incident, we'd like them to contact us and to submit that. That's a critical part of our investigation. Our Friends and Family Assistance Center that we established at Douglas Park Community Center remains open until 8 p.m. tonight. It will close at 8 p.m. and it will not reopen tomorrow. We've established a community support center, which is a small, modest trailer at 41st and Fraser. And this is going to be a place for people to come if they would like to obtain information, seek emotional support, or access resources. It will be staffed by VPD personnel, and there will be victim services support workers there as well. This will remain open from noon until 8 p.m. daily until the end of this week. If we decide to keep it there for additional days, we'll update you later in the week. Those are all of my updates for today. I am happy to take any questions you have. I'll do my best to answer them. If I can't answer them, I'll bring you the information tomorrow. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's Brenna with the Canadian.
Hi, Brenna.
I'm just wondering if you can provide any kind of potential timeline you might expect for recommending additional charges.
So we have 11 homicide victims. 8 second-degree murder charges have been laid. We submit our evidence to Crown Counsel. That timeline will largely depend on Crown Counsel's charge approval threshold. So the short answer to you is I cannot give you a specific time. Go ahead.
Is last week's fire in East Hastings still being treated as suspicious? Is there any update to the investigation?
So I'll answer that question quickly, but the purpose of this briefing is to talk about updates related to the Lapu Lapu Festival vehicle attack. I'll answer that question. The fire is still under investigation. Go ahead.
Did you say a 22-month-old is serious?
Yes.
Thank you. Also, how many foreign nationals are also?
We don't have that information.
Do we know how many children were either injured or killed in the attack?
Amongst the homicide victims, the murder victims, the youngest was 5 years old. Of the surviving victims who are still in hospital, there is one child, and that child is 22 months old.
So at least one child killed and at least one child injured?
Yes, there are other victims who are not currently in serious or critical condition, who are not amongst the 11 murder victims. There are a number of people who are injured here. I don't have additional specific information, demographic information about their ages or genders at this time. Kim.
Can you give us a time frame, like a start date or a rough start date and an end date to Vancouver Police interactions with this person in the months or years prior to this?
I don't have that information, and I'm not prepared to say more than what we've already said, and that is, and I know you've heard it, but I'll repeat it for those who haven't. The accused in this case has had previous interactions with police and medical professionals related to mental health. Go ahead.
Follow up, please. Were your officers aware of the interaction with the neighboring jurisdiction before Saturday's event or only afterwards?
The interaction in the neighboring jurisdiction that occurred the day before, April 25th, was something that was not criminal in nature and did not rise to the level of requiring mental health intervention. Generally speaking, I can tell you that whether it's in Vancouver or a neighboring jurisdiction, when a police officer attends a call for service, a report is written about that call for service. It goes into a database, the PRIME database, that all police officers would have access to. So there is documentation of that. However, I'm not aware of any specific information that was directly passed on to the Vancouver Police Department or any other police department related to that interaction. And I can tell you what I do know about that interaction. In my experience, is not something that would warrant proactive outreach.
So afterwards, when you checked PRIME, you would have seen it?
Yes.
Okay.
Keeping on what Kim's saying, like from Ben Milger, globally here. So when Vancouver Police, an officer, makes contact with someone who is on leave for mental health facility, if you will. Is it protocol that they then contact the team that usually looks after them or checks in with the mental health facility?
It's entirely circumstantial. Without having more specific information, I'd hate to speak in such generalities. It would be irresponsible to do so.
This is a bit of repetition here from what Kim was asking you earlier, but this is again from Ben. Did VPD have any recent communications between Coastal Health and?
I don't know.
One for me, like.
Yes.
I think we know this, but just in a little more details. The road is still closed.
Yes.
It's for some time. What are the little details? What is happening in there? What are the police doing at this time?
Sure. So the specific crime scene includes East 40. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jason, but the specific crime scene includes East 43rd Avenue from St. George to Fraser Street, and from Fraser Street to 45th. Approximately 45th. 41st to 45th. That's the area, the immediate crime scene that was secured in the immediate aftermath of the vehicle attack on Saturday night. Our officers have been working throughout that crime scene since that time to process that crime scene and collect evidence. It's a significant, the size of the crime scene is significant in size. There's a lot of evidence to collect. We've taken the time that we need to collect that evidence. Our work is done. However, the city of Vancouver has taken the responsibility of taking steps to reopen that street, those streets, for the public's use. I've been in contact with the city of Vancouver. They've asked that I refer specific questions about those steps to them. So I would encourage you, if you've got additional questions about what those steps are to reopen the streets that have been closed, that you reach out to the city of Vancouver. I spoke with my colleagues there shortly before I came down to see you. My understanding is we do expect it to remain closed or secure, at least until tomorrow. We've worked with the city of Vancouver to collect personal property that remains there. And as I said before, we'll work on a process whereby people can contact us to retrieve that property. We're just not quite there yet. We want to make sure when we give out information, it's the correct information. So I'll have more on that for you tomorrow. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it's only one more.
Yes. Yes.
I think you talked a little bit about this yesterday. Several officers down there on the immediate day and afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
How are they?
Well, like everybody else in the community who's had to experience this, many of us are dealing with it in different ways, but we're all struggling to a certain degree in our own ways, but we have lots of support here. So critical incident stress debriefs, we call them diffusings, peer support, and other services that our organization provides to us. I certainly don't want to make this about us. This is about the community. This is about victims and families and healing for the community, and we're absolutely part of that community. And while this has an impact on us, we don't want this conversation to be about us. We have a job to do. We're professionals. We're impacted by this, but we need to maintain our focus here. Our focus is on victims, families, and collecting the evidence that we need to complete this investigation. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, just a quick follow-up to the kind of charge recommendation and assessment.
Yeah.
Are you waiting to hear back from the prosecution service on some of what you've already forwarded, or are you still in the process of just forwarding evidence?
During an investigation, I'm going to speak in general terms because I don't have a specific answer for this, but during an investigation like this, in generally what will happen is we'll submit the evidence that we have in the first instance, and that evidence resulted in the laying of those 8 second-degree murder charges. And through the course of the investigation, at various times, we will submit additional evidence, which will presumably result in additional charges. And that may take place multiple times over the course of this investigation, because we're not just talking about 11 murder victims here. We're talking about other people who are victims who have been seriously injured. Many of them we may not even know about yet. As I said yesterday, there may be people who left the area who have not come forward for personal reasons, and should they choose to come forward, we'll then begin a process to investigate and speak to them. So the answer to that is we will continuously provide updates to Crown Counsel. We'll allow them to go through their charge assessment process, which is independent of us. And I certainly don't want to speak for Crown or their timeline, but we'll just continue to do our work. Okay. Good.
Are you just listening in there to law enforcement in Vancouver provide an update on the tragedy at this Filipino street festival over the weekend in Canada? Of course, talking about it, the numbers really remain the same. 11 people tragically killed, 7 remain in critical condition, 3 individuals in serious condition. Of course, a 22-month-old remains in the hospital following this, of course, ranging from 29 to 66 years old, those injured. I do want to remind you that we are keeping an eye right now on this live picture north of Detroit as we will take you out to President Trump marking 100 days in office. As soon as he steps to the microphone, we already see Defense Secretary right there in the center of your screen, Pete Hegseth, on hand for this. He was at the previous rally at the Michigan Air National Guard, and you can just see people there shaking his hand, get some pictures. They're also getting different signs and pictures with other individuals. They're not expecting to have Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer on hand for this, but people potentially stepping to the stage here in about 10 or so minutes. Let's line away for a quick 2-minute break. We'll be back with more top headlines after this.
Wix gives you the freedom to tell your story with a professional website that reflects who you are and what you have to offer. Customize every element of your website to meet your needs and achieve your goals. Create a unique visual experience that enhances your product and amplifies your message. Expand your website with content that pushes your business forward. Share content that matters to your audience. And present it the way you envision it, from the biggest ideas to the smallest details. Your website, your voice, your platform.
Let's get you home.
Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, I'm from home. Take me home.
All right, welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. We await President Trump marking 100 days at this campaign-style rally just north of Detroit. We'll take you out to this as soon as it happens here on Live Now from Fox. We do have this other vantage point as well as we will see him take the stage. We already see in attendance Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth on hand greeting some different supporters there already. Right now, though, let's take you north of the border to Vancouver as officials providing an update on the tragedy over the weekend. Let's listen in to what they have to say in this city.
Your agency, please. Go ahead if you're on the phone.
Hi. Hi, Justine Hunter with the Globe and Mail.
Hi, Justine.
I'm wondering if you could tell me if you're investigating this as a hate crime.
This appears, all indications are this was a completely indiscriminate act of violence. We are not investigating this at this point as a hate crime.
All right, thanks.
Next question. Go ahead. Go ahead with your question.
Mike, in Vancouver.
Go ahead.
This morning, the Premier announced that he wants to establish an independent commission to set up guidelines for these across the province to ensure that if they want to hold public events this summer, that they will be safe and run smoothly. And I'm wondering if the Premier's office has contacted the BPD and whether the BPD will be involved in any way in that commission.
Well, first of all, Mike, I'll tell you that we welcome any additional support that the province of British Columbia is prepared and willing to provide. Mayor Sim has already announced that the City of Vancouver will be undergoing an internal review. We have said very clearly that while we believe that the planning for this particular event was sound and that everything was done appropriately, that we're certainly open to reviews and to considering what changes may need to be made in the future. So we welcome any review the province will do, and we welcome any additional support. We're confident that we already implement best practices for hosting events, big and small. We've hosted the Olympics. We're hosting FIFA next year. We hosted 3 nights of Taylor Swift last year. We host Celebration of Lights every year down at the waterfront that brings hundreds of thousands of people out. We have more than 1,000 protests a year in this city, more than 3,200 different events, ranging from small community block parties to 3 consecutive nights of Taylor Swift that bring tens of thousands of people to our city. We know how to host safe events safely and properly. Our planning for these events, it's done by senior planners in our emergency operations section, overseen by our most senior executive. We have sent our own people, our own officers around the world to learn from other countries, including sending officers to the last FIFA World Cup to learn in first person from their experiences and bring that knowledge back so that when we host FIFA next year, we're implementing best practices. We have recruited experienced officers from other countries, from the UK, who have brought with them vast experience in dealing with public order or crowd control situations. And we've implemented their experience in our processes. We've learned a lot from our previous experiences, both good and bad, namely the 2011 Stanley Cup riot, where we conducted an extensive review to what went wrong, what changes were made, and implemented changes. We have a trained and experienced dedicated team called a public safety unit, which is experienced in crowd control tactics. They're actually training right now over at our kiosk lot where we keep our vehicles across the street. We have our PSU bicycles that are training right now. This unit works with other public safety partners, namely Vancouver Fire Rescue Services, and deploys multiple times throughout the year. We know how to host events. We know how to host events safely, big and small. That said, we're open to support. We're open to suggestions. We're open to making changes in the name of public safety if changes are required.
Follow up, if I may. You mentioned that the BPD has identified 200 witnesses. Can you tell me how that came about? Was it through video? Was it through people contacting you or people? I just wanted to be clear on that because I know in the past when there's a major criminal event in the city, the BPD will bring in buses and put people on buses who are at a crime scene. Tell me if that happened here and maybe just flesh out how you've identified 200 witnesses and why it's taking time to interview them.
Well, some of the witnesses were present at the crime scene in the immediate aftermath and were identified immediately by our officers as they responded to this vehicle attack. Others have come forward after the fact. We will continue the process to seek out and interview people who have information, witnesses, that will help us complete this investigation. There's 200 witnesses. to interview them properly in a trauma-informed way that protects the integrity of our very serious criminal investigation, it's going to take time, and we're going to take the time to do it right. A witness who comes forward is coming forward on their own initiative and needs to participate in an investigation on their own volition, and we need to treat them with respect in a trauma-informed and victim-centered way. So while it is a priority to collect every piece of evidence and every piece of perishable evidence we can to complete this investigation in a reasonable time frame, we're going to take the time that we need to do it right. Any more questions, Mike?
Yes, one more, please.
Go ahead.
I know that the VPD trains for active shooter situations. There's been numerous exercises with emergency personnel over the years about preparing for a disaster like an earthquake. How do you prepare for something that, by all accounts, was unpredictable and just maybe flush that out a bit?
The very nature of this vehicle attack was unpredictable. And as we've talked about already, it's hard to safeguard. It's hard to predict. Well, it's impossible to predict the unpredictable. That's what makes it unpredictable. However, once this horrific crime, this vehicle attack occurred, every available police officer used all of their skills and experience to respond and to respond professionally. And that's everybody from the first officers who were on scene, who were tending to victims who were seriously injured, frightened, some of them potentially running away out of fear, extremely traumatized, and doing so in working with them in a trauma-informed and careful way, to providing immediate first aid to those most seriously injured, to tending to the people who didn't make it. Our first responders, the people who showed up first and dropped everything to rush there, did an amazing job. And again, I don't want to make this about us, because this is about the community, and this is about the lives that have been lost, and the victims and the families and the community and the healing. But aside from those first responders who did heroic work in the immediate aftermath, in the minutes and the hours after this horrific attack, we have our most experienced investigators who have been working around the clock to collect evidence, to complete this investigation. And these are investigators who have many, many years on this job, who've worked in homicide, who have worked in major crime, who have worked in arson, who have worked in sex crimes, who are forensic interviewers, polygraph examiners, forensic video experts, forensic identification experts, and others. In the course of your career as a police officer, through experience and training, we learn how to deal with these incidents. This incident is unlike anything that we've ever dealt with here in Vancouver, but we're really proud of the work that we've done, and really proud of the work that we will continue to do.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mike. Who else is in the queue? Go ahead with your question. Sorry, I'm going to have to get you to speak up. I can't hear you.
Lauren Collins, Blackbox Media.
Hi, Lori.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi.
Or Lauren. Sorry, go ahead, Lauren.
Regarding the additional charges, would they be different to the second-degree murder charges, or would it be additional second-degree murder charges?
The question is, would any additional charges be the same or different? I don't have that answer. We will leave that in the hands of Crown County.
All right, you're just listening in there to this taking place in Vancouver, Canada, as authorities continue to investigate this. All right, we're following it here on Live Now from Fox very closely. Let's shift gears here as we do see now the rally beginning just north of Detroit as President Trump marking 100 days in office. You can see him taking the stage right now here on Live Now from Fox, right on time, as he will address a group of supporters there, talking about what he's accomplished during the first 100 days. And it has been a dizzying display of action so far. Obviously, a lot of eyes will be on what he says, a lot of understanding about what he says in terms of tariffs, in terms of what the automakers, so many in Michigan, have an impact and an imprint on that. Of course, earlier on, President Trump signing an executive order to relax some of his 25% tariffs on autos and auto parts. According to the White House, it is a significant reversal as the import taxes threaten to hurt domestic manufacturers. Of course, automakers there continuing to react. Let's just continue to listen in. As you can see them, a campaign-style rally, the music playing ahead of him and making remarks, plenty of signs, plenty of American flags. It was the eve of election night that President Trump visited the state of Michigan in Grand Rapids on the western portion of the state, now marking 100 days in the Wolverine state as well. You can see the music playing. This just feels like it was during campaign season that we watched unfold in 2024. The music, the dancing taking place there. We also saw earlier on today another rally for President Trump in Michigan at an Air Force base, the Selfridge Air National Guard base. On this 100th day in office, he was joined by Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, a Democrat, also by Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. We already saw Hegseth here at this event. There's no sign of Whitmer, but that is as expected. So plenty to get to, plenty of conversations around what is going on the first 100 days, the traditional benchmark for presidents during their term in office. Let's listen in here as President Trump marks 100 days in office on Live Now.
Wow. Hello. Hello, Michigan. Thank you very much. Hello, Michigan. Hello, we love you, Michigan. We love you. We just had the biggest victory in Michigan. They said, sir, it's going to be hard. Well, we won it twice. We actually won it 3 times. You want to really know that? But I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state. I love this state. Got a lot of auto jobs coming. Watch what's happening. The companies are coming in by the tens. You got to see what's happening. They all want to come back to Michigan and build cars again. You know why? Because of our tax and tariff policy. They're coming from all over the world. They're coming up and they're opening up plants and they're talking to us all day and all night. They want to get here and they're coming in at levels you've never seen before. And I want to thank the auto workers for your support. That was great. But I'm thrilled to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. And we're here tonight in the heartland of our nation to celebrate the most successful first 100 days of any administration in the history of our country. And that's according to many, many people. This is the best, they say, 100-day start of any president in history, and everyone is saying it. We've just gotten started. You haven't even seen anything yet. It's all just kicking in. And week by week, we're ending illegal immigration. We're taking back our jobs and protecting our great American auto workers and all of our workers, frankly. We're protecting all of our workers. We're restoring the rule of law, which was sort of out the window with this crazy guy we had. How the hell did that guy ever become president? Could somebody explain to me? How the hell did that happen? There's my friend, Blacks for Trump. I like that guy. He follows me. He follows me. We love you. Your whole group has been so supportive over the years. I want to thank you. Everyone thinks I pay you a fortune. I don't know. I don't even know who the hell he is. I just like him. True. Thank you very much. Thank all of the fellas. Thank them all. But we're ending the inflation nightmare, the worst that we've had probably in the history of our country, getting woke lunacy and transgender insanity the hell out of our government. We're stopping the indoctrination of our children, slashing billions and billions of dollars of waste, fraud, and abuse. And above all, we're saving the American dream. We're making America great again, and it's happening fast, too. What the world has witnessed in the past 14 weeks is a revolution of common sense. That's all it is, really. We're conservative. You're conservative, you're liberal, whatever the hell. You know what it's all about? It's about common sense when you think about it. We're for common sense. We like strong borders. We like good education. We like low interest rates. We like being able to buy a beautiful car. And now deduct the interest on the loan. That's never happened before. We want a strong military. We want low taxes. You know, the Democrats, they campaign on, we will raise your taxes. It's the first time. You know, I haven't been doing this that long, actually, compared to a lot of people. They've been doing it for a long time. They say, you became president. I can't get out of Congress, or some of them can't even get into Congress. But, you know, I haven't been doing it that long, but all my life I've been watching. And I've never heard people campaigning that they're going to raise taxes. It's always been, we will reduce your taxes, Democrat, Republican. Now they go, we're going to raise your taxes. If our bill doesn't pass, the Republicans, we have 100% just about Republican support, but it would be nice if we had just a couple of Democrats just to make sure, because, you know, every once in a while you have a grandstander Republican. We have some grandstanders, but every once in a while, not many, but remember who those grandstanders were and vote them the hell out of office, okay? Will you do that? Vote them out of office. You know, they do it they're morally bound. You know what the answer is? If you don't get it, you're going to have the highest tax increase in history instead of the greatest tax cut in history. If the Democrats prevail on this bill, you get a 58% tax increase. Would you like that? These are the Democrats. But I've never seen all the years they campaign, we will raise your taxes. I say, this country has gone crazy. And today they did it again. Some guy that I'd never heard of. John James, is he a congressman, this guy? He said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to start the impeachment of Donald Trump. What the hell did I do? Here we go again. They want to impeach me. This lunatic, he was up. Actually, I had the television way down, and I said to our great First Lady, listen, did I just hear I was being impeached again? We're getting good at this, though. No, they've gone totally crazy. These people, and you know what? They've totally lost their confidence, too. They can't even tell a lunatic like this dumb guy that said it. And then you have the other one that's always with the cane. He's always impeaching. He raises his cane. He always impeaches. But they have no control over those people. They have no control. And the reason is they've lost their confidence. They have no confidence anymore as a party. They have no candidates. And, you know, when they say that Bernie's probably the best they have. By the way, he's about 7 years older than me, more. 8 years older. One thing I got to give him credit, he's a lunatic, but he's still pretty sharp. And he's going around with AOC +3, you know, the +3 follow him. They hang on for little bits. They hang on for nuggets. And they get crowds. They say, our crowds are so much bigger than their crowds. Their crowds are small. If I ever had a crowd like their biggest crowd, they'd say it's over for Trump. He's lost the magic. But this is great, and all the people outside, we love you. We put screens up. We're taking back our country from a sick political class that got rich selling America out and bleeding America dry. We don't let that happen anymore. And we had 4 great years. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. The stock market went up 88%. We did great. And we're going to do better now, because now we learned a little bit. After years of leaders who sent your money to defend the borders of distant foreign nations. That's what we did. We'd fight for other nations, but not for ourselves. You finally have a president who is defending our borders and our nation. After decades of politicians who destroyed Detroit to build up Beijing, you finally have a champion for workers in the White House. And instead of putting China first, I'm putting Michigan first, and I'm putting America first. After a lifetime of unelected bureaucrats stealing your paychecks, attacking your values, and trampling your freedoms, we are stopping their gravy train, ending their power trip, and telling thousands of corrupt, incompetent, and unnecessary deep state bureaucrats, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're fired. Get out of here. In 100 days, we have delivered the most profound change in Washington in nearly 100 years. I read an editorial today that this is the most consequential presidency in history. How about that? And it wasn't even by a group that would normally be supporting us. It was a group of people that I think they tend to be on the liberal side, but they said it's the most important election. The November 5th, it changed it all. You have to see, when you hear some of these numbers, but that is the most consequential election that we've ever had in our country. And what a nice thing. I'm going to start again subscribing to that particular paper. Even if I don't read it much, I'm going to subscribe. But it was a very nice compliment, especially from them. They know who I'm talking about. We're ushering out the long reign of special interests and the radical left lunatics, and we're ushering in the golden age of America. That's what we have. Right? Front row Joe. Look at you, front row Joes. I miss you guys. I miss the campaign. You haven't changed. You've lost a couple of pounds. Oh, he's probably getting to one of those jabbers. You've lost a couple of pounds. You look good. And I have Mr. Wall here. This guy. How many rallies have you gone to? Like hundreds, and we love him here. The Wall. One day I'm gonna get that suit and I'm gonna wear it on stage. We appreciate it, fellas. Great. Thank you. You know, we have a group of ladies, I don't know if they're here, but we have a group of women from North Carolina, a large group, like 50 of the most beautiful women, and they've been to 129 rallies. They're happily married, I think, too. They just keep going to rallies all the time. But they're great. North Carolina, where we won by big numbers. Nowhere has this transformation been more dramatic than our southern border. You have seen the change on your southern border that Sleepy Joe said couldn't happen. Sleepy Joe, the worst president in history, said it couldn't happen. The last administration engineered a massive border invasion, allowing gangs, cartels, and terrorists to infiltrate our communities and rape and murder our citizens. And that is being nice about it. That's actually being nice about it. They are the worst. But standing before you today, I can proudly report that this heinous betrayal is over and that we have achieved the most secure border in American history by far. In American history. For 2 months in a row, we have now set all-time records, and this is by the media, the fake news media, which most of it is fake. We've set all-time records for the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. Think of that, ever recorded. The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down, listen to this please, 99.999%. Think of that, 99.999. 3 people got in. 3. And I got angry as hell at Tom Homan. How did you allow 3, Tom? I called up Christy. Christy Noem's doing a great job, Tom Homan. I said, how did you allow 3 people? No, they allowed a few in for medical reasons. They honestly, they had a couple of were very sick. The ones that got in were really very sick, and we had to take care of them. But it was a few people. But 3 people got in versus hundreds of thousands in the last administration. Hundreds of thousands a month were pouring in. Biden had no control. Thank goodness he appointed a great border czar, right? Kamala. She was a great candidate. She was fantastic. Joe Biden was down 35 points. The debate was not a good one for him. He said, you know, if I didn't debate, I could have gone all the way. He was down 35 points and they decided to replace him. Nothing ever happens like what happens to me. It never happens to anybody else. I had to beat 2 candidates. So he's down. This is like you're in a fight. Dana White, the UFC, you're in a fight and you're just beating the guy so badly. And they say, oh, let's put in another fighter. That's what happened. And I knew nothing about her. She was vice president, but nobody knew a damn thing about her. She had nothing to do with the border, even though she was appointed border czar. The great people, all of the great people, Paul and all of the border patrol people, they never spoke to her. They never heard about her. For 4 years, she never called. But there's never been such a difference in anything as the difference between the border today and the border what it was just 6 months ago. So I want to say congratulations, America. It's about time. If we had not won the 2024 election, oh, does that sound good, right? We won the 24, all that work. The radical left Democrats would right now be importing the next 10 million invaders and giving amnesty to 30 or 40 million illegals, many of them criminals, many of them, frankly, murderers and people of crime at the absolute highest level. Real bad people. It would only be a matter of years or months until America itself became a failed third world nation. That was happening because we're going to be a third world nation. I'll tell you what, if these guys won, if this group of radical lunatics, and by the way, you know, Biden, we find out that whoever operated the auto pen was the real president, and Biden knew nothing about it. You know, he had a group of radical left guys who were very smart, and a woman, a particular woman. Very smart people. These are not stupid people. These are sick people, but they're not stupid people. And they were very smart. What they're best at is cheating at election. They cheat on elections. That's their single greatest trait. They cheat like hell. And let me tell you, they tried to cheat on this election, but we made it too big to rig. Remember? Too big to rig. They tried. I watched those numbers. We had Elon with us. Elon is a smart guy. Elon was with us. Elon Musk. And I was sitting with Dana White and Elon Musk, and I'm watching the numbers in Pennsylvania, and we're winning so easily. Then all of a sudden it flatlined. And I said, you know, I think they're cheating again. Look at this. What's going on? I think they're cheating again. And Elon looked at us. He goes, no, you're going to win. They just don't know it yet. And about 15 minutes later, we won, you know, sort of crazy. I'll never forget. You're going to win. They just don't know it yet. But you know what? We made it too big to rig. It was too big. Starting on day one, I deployed the U.S. military to defend our country from the invasion of our border. I shut down all migrant flights. Do you remember when we're talking about people coming in, they're trying to deny it, okay? So people are flowing in. They said, no, I don't see any people. It's like, what's wrong? But then we saw airplanes going overhead. We said, what the hell are those airplanes doing? Big Boeing 757s were traveling right overhead, loaded up with people. I say, where the hell are those planes going? They were loaded up with migrants coming in illegally, flying in by plane, paid for by the U.S. government. I'll tell you, they are sick. Remember that day? That was the day we found out that not only do we have to defend it here, we have to defend it not only in the water, but we have to defend it in the air. The planes were going over us. I said, what the hell is that? I banned all welfare to illegals, and I signed an order that will end automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens. No citizenship. For years, Joe Biden and the media told us that stopping the flood of illegal immigration was absolutely impossible. He said it was impossible. He didn't know what the hell anybody was talking about. He said it was impossible, that the president had no power to stop what was needed in the form of legislation. He needed legislation. He had no power to get it. But it turned out that all we needed was a new president. Within days of taking office, I signed the Laken Riley Act. Laken Riley, beautiful Laken Riley, who was killed by an illegal immigrant, viciously, violently killed. But I signed the Laken Riley Act to facilitate the expulsion of dangerous criminal aliens, and when necessary, we had to put them in jail. We couldn't take a chance that they'd come back in again. In recent weeks, ICE, who are great, these people are great, has arrested dozens of child rapists, along with murderers, kidnappers, drug traffickers, and thieves, and frankly, people from mental institutions. We've designated 6 murderous Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organization. We have also designated 2 bloodthirsty transnational gangs, MS-13 and Tren-de-Aragua, TDA. They've been designated the highest level of terrorists, and that lets us do a lot of things that you wouldn't be able to do. We got to get them out of here before they kill more people. They've killed plenty. My administration has increased arrests of known and suspected terrorists by 655%. Is that okay? We tried to get it higher. We tried to get it higher, but the courts are giving us a hard time. Can you believe? You know, I won on the basis of, I think the number one thing was on illegal immigration, the border, the people pouring across our border that are from all over the world. They're unbelievably bad. In many cases, unbelievably bad people. I think that was the number one thing. And now the courts are trying to say that, you know, that doesn't matter. I don't think it's going to be allowed to stand. Democrats have vowed mass invasion and mass migration. We are delivering mass deportation, and it's happening very fast. And the worst of the worst are being sent to a no-nonsense prison in El Salvador. Why don't you watch this? Watch this. Take a look.
César Eliseo Sotomanga.
So under President Trump, America is a dumping ground for criminals no longer. They're not even trying to come in. But while we're fighting to protect Americans, the radical left Democrats, who are so bad for this country, are fighting to protect TDA, you just saw that, and MS-13 criminals, and you don't even know which is worse, but they are the top of the line. For years, Democrat politicians did not raise one word of protest as American women and girls were raped and slaughtered by these monsters. They were raped and slaughtered by numbers that you don't even want to hear about. But the second we try to deport them, the radical Democrat Party is racing to the defense of some of the most violent savages on the face of the earth. Who the hell would vote for these people? They're racing to the courts to help them. But this is not what the people want. This is not what they voted for in record numbers. I won the election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote. And we got 312 electoral college votes. And just this month, 2 Venezuelan members of TDA, Tren de Aragua, were arrested in Washington state for kidnapping a 58-year-old woman driving a power drill through her hand to extort her bank account information, shooting her, leaving her for dead. And miraculously, she just survived, but she's not feeling so well. In January, Tren de Aragua member in Chicago kidnapped 3 women, took them in an alley, lined them up, and shot them each in the head. They all died. And the FBI recently assessed that these vicious gangs have been sent by the foreign regime in Venezuela to foment violence and instability in the United States of America. Can't let that happen. And it's not just, in all fairness, not Venezuela. It's all over the world. It's all over. They come in from the Congo. They come in from Africa. The Congo, they emptied out their prisons into our country. But they come from Africa, Asia, South America. They come from all over bad parts of Europe. That's why we've invoked the Alien Enemies Act to expel every foreign terrorist from our soil as quickly as possible. Never forget the same people that we now claim we're just not taking this crap anymore. We can't. They're claiming that we're not allowed to deport illegals, and they're the ones who orchestrated an 8-year campaign to jail their political opponents. Do you know what I mean? They want to jail. They want to jail. That's all they can do, jail their political opponents. What they did to people is a disgrace. And now they come after us. Why are you not nice to them? Why are you not nice to them? They tried to jail your president. They tried to jail. Except for the really courageousness of a few very good judges, you know, we could have been calling you from the other side of the bar saying, hey, fellas, how about a little protest? How about a little protest? But they cheered the assassination of CEOs, looted our cities, and destroyed our property. No, they tried to jail our politicians, and they tried to jail a lot of people, many of whom didn't even know what the hell they were being looked at for. These people are criminals. If they had their way, we would be living in a third world hellhole. That's what they want. Removing the invaders is not just a campaign pledge. It's my solemn duty as Commander-in-Chief. I have an obligation to do it. Save our country. And that's why we got, despite the fake polls, you know, they do these polls where they interview far more Democrats than Republicans. I saw them over the last few days, and I had them checked out. They interview far more Democrats for the polls. They interview Democrats by big numbers and then Republicans by small. They say, Trump only has a 44% approval rating. Well, it's actually not bad. But when you figure that if it were a legit poll, it would be in the 60s or 70s. These people are a bunch of crooked people. No, they interview more Democrats than Republicans. In other words, they take the poll and they interview Democrats. They poll Democrats. And then they say, they try and depress it as much, just like they write bad stories. 97% of the stories written about me, think of it, were negative. And yet we won in a landslide because they have no credibility. And also, we cannot allow a handful of communist, radical left judges to obstruct the enforcement of our laws and assume the duties that belong solely to the President of the United States. Judges are trying to take away the power given to the president to keep our country safe, and it's not a good thing. But I hope, for the sake of our country, that the Supreme Court is going to save this, because we have to do something. These people are just looking to destroy our country. Nothing will stop me in the mission to keep America safe again. It's very simple. Keep America safe again. And our first 100 days have also produced historic results in the battle to defeat Biden's inflation disaster and bring jobs and wealth back to America and bring them back to Michigan. Okay? We want to bring them. As an example, since I took office, the cost of eggs is down 87%. Now, right? You remember a few weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, before we heard about it, I heard about it a long time ago. Before Thanksgiving, I heard about it. And then I was hearing, I wasn't president. This guy was barely president. Nobody knew, was he president? Who the hell was president? To this day, I say it was the one that operated the auto pen, but what do I know? But I was hearing about eggs, and then all of a sudden we have a great election victory. And my first week in office, they start screaming at me, what about the price of eggs, eggs, eggs? I said, I've only been here for 6 days. I was there 6 days. I said, what's wrong with eggs? They said, the price of eggs has gone through the roof and you won't be able to have them for Easter. So I put our very capable Brooke Rollins, who's our wonderful Commissioner of Agriculture that you know in Michigan. I said, Brooke, I've only been here 6 days before I heard, maybe even less, maybe 5, maybe 4. But it was my first week. And I said, Brooke, you got to save me here. I'm getting killed about eggs. What the hell's going on with eggs? She said, well, you can't get them. The price is through the roof. And it looks like we're going to have a real problem for Easter. You're not going to have eggs. I said, Brooke, that doesn't sound politically viable to me. That doesn't sound good. Because nobody's going to believe me when you get out there that it's Sleepy Joe Biden's fault. So, Brooke, you got to get going, Brooke, please. And she did a great job. And you had so many eggs for Easter, and your price was down 87% from that point. Prices are coming way down. You know, the fake news doesn't say. They said, he pledged. Now, I pledged safe borders. I pledged all sorts of things. But they said, he pledged to bring prices down. Well, that's what I've done. They're trying to say the prices have gone up. Your energy, your car, your gasoline, they have 3 states this week, a couple of days ago, that were $1.98 a gallon. So gasoline prices are down by a lot. Energy prices are down. Mortgage rates actually just went down. Prescription drug prices just saw their largest monthly decline ever recorded. How about that? Remember what you heard. Prescription drug prices just took the biggest plunge ever since they've recorded the prices, which have basically gone up, except for my 4 years. They did pretty well, but we got to know that system. The system is a bad system, but they just took the biggest dive. ever in the history of prescription drug prices. Think of that. That's a big thing. I got to say it again and again because they will never tell you that. The fake news will never tell you that. Grocery prices have gone down. Everything's gone down. And yet I saw this person on MSDNC, which I think is probably even worse than CNN. It's probably worse. Probably worse than CNN. But I saw this horrible, horrible anchor. How these people get jobs. I wouldn't hire them to do the most menial of chores. But I saw this person, he campaigned on bringing prices down. Every price has gone down. What am I going to do? I mean, think of it. Gasoline was almost $4 not so long ago. And now, Mike, we just hit $1.98 in a lot of states. Think of it. And they're saying, and you know what? And inflation is basically down. And interest rates came down despite the fact that I have a Fed person who's not really doing a good job, but I won't say that. I want to be very nice. I want to be very nice and respectful to the Fed. You're not supposed to criticize the Fed. You're supposed to let him do his own thing. But I know much more than he does about interest rates, believe me. Core inflation has reached the lowest rate in 4 years. And last month, we had the largest drop in consumer prices since the pandemic. This is all done in 100 days. Think of that. This is all done in 100 days. But when you watch the fake news, you see fake polls. Again, they poll more Democrats than Republicans. Democrats aren't going to say, I'm going to vote for Trump. And we still got 45, 44%. But on the legitimate polls, I think we're in the 60s. I think we're in the 60s or 70s or something. In 3 months, we have created 350,000 jobs. Think of that. For the first time in recent memory, job gains for native-born Americans now exceed job gains for foreign workers. This is for the first time, and nobody even knows when, Americans now are doing better than foreign workers. How about that? I mean, that's okay. I want everyone to do well, but that's okay. And to curb inflation, we're cutting a record number of job-killing regulations. We beat in the 4-year first administration, which was a tremendous success. We cut more regulations than any president in history, including 2-term presidents, including Roosevelt, who was more than a 2-term president. We cut more regulations than any president in history in 1 term, and now our 2nd term. And, you know, I don't know why. It was so important to win because they used to say, the fake news, to be a great president, you have to serve 2 terms. So now we're going to serve 2 terms. Now they've taken that one. Cross. Right? Right, Dr. Oz? Cross that one off. Cross that one off. No, they say it all the time. When I was out, they say, well, they go out. Thank you. Thank you. Sure. But we've ended the radical left. Well, we actually already served 3, but if you count. But remember, I like the victories. I like the 3 victories, which we absolutely had. I just don't like the results of the middle term, the results. I don't want those results, John. I don't want those results. What results? What a disgrace. If we would have had this group for another year, we wouldn't have a country left. I really mean it. I don't think we would have had a country left. And now we're respected all over the world. They're coming from all over the world to see you, President. They're coming from India. They're coming from France. They're coming from Spain. Yeah, they're coming from China, too. Yeah, they're coming from China. They're coming from all over the world to see you, President. They want to make a deal. They want to make a deal. And, you know, we'll make deals, but we don't have to. We are the ones that have the product. We are the ones at the United States. They want a piece of our product. We can just set the price. But I want to be respectful and I want to be nice. But if it takes too long, I'll just set a price. Say, you could buy or you don't have to buy. We lost, think of this, we lost billions and billions of dollars a day. Billions, not millions, billions of dollars a day. And under Sleepy Joe Biden. What's better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? Ready? A poll, a free poll. Because these pollsters are so corrupt. This is a real poll. We're going to poll Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe. Ready? What's a better name for us to call him? Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? I'm not surprised this happens. I sort of loved Sleepy Joe, just had a nice ring to him. Because he had one ability I didn't have. He goes to the beach, right? And he could fall asleep on a cottage drooling out of the side of his mouth. And he'd be sleeping within minutes, carrying the aluminum chair, the kind that's meant for old people and children to carry. It weighs like about 4 ounces. And he couldn't get his feet out of the sand. And he'd sleep, he'd fall in this thing, and with it, and he'd have, he's president, so you'd have cameras. He'd be in a bathing suit. Somebody convinced him that he looks great in a bathing suit. He's 82 years old. Cary Grant didn't look great in a bathing suit when he was 82. You don't look great. At some point you have other assets, okay? But that's not right. But he'd go and he'd walk in the sand, and he'd fall into that thing, and within seconds he was sleeping. I'd be tossing and turning and scheming and thinking and saying, how am I going to beat China? How am I going to stop the war with Russia and Ukraine? This guy could fall asleep with cameras blazing, right? Not too many cameras were blazing, but enough were blazing that you saw it. I thought it was a great ability that he had, actually. We've ended the radical left war on American energy. We've stopped their crusade on coal. Did you see what I did the other day? Clean, beautiful coal. I said, you're not allowed to use the word coal unless you say clean, beautiful coal. So you have guys getting up, Department of Energy. We have great people at Department of Energy. They talk about clean, beautiful coal. China uses coal. They're opening up a coal plant every week. A massive coal plant, but we're not allowed to use it. But now we are, because last week I gave it absolute total approval. And you know what I don't give approval to? Those stupid windmills that go round and round and round. And we've ended the Green New scam. We've reopened ANWR, the greatest drilling site anywhere in the world, in Alaska, and implemented the new energy policy of the United States. You know what it is? We have a policy. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill. That's our policy. That's our policy, Michael, right? Great Michael Whatley, head of the Republican Party. He's done a good job. Him and Laura, they took the party by storm, right? He had a good candidate, but had a couple of good candidates, didn't he? Michael's been incredible, actually. Michael Whatley, North Carolina. He watched in 2020. He did so good for me. And, he was in North Carolina. He did so great. What's the problem over there? What's the problem? Is that a radical left lunatic? He's just a child. All right, get him out. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. I thought it was a guy. Thank you. And she now has to go home to a mother who's a big Trump fan. Her mother's watching. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said he, and it's a she. I'm sorry. To keep my promise to the great state of Michigan, I terminated Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate, where you were mandated to buy an electric vehicle. You were mandated within just a few years to buy an electric vehicle. How about that? And you know what? They're great, but people don't. Not everybody wants them. You got to be able to buy a hybrid, a gasoline-powered car. You can buy lots of different cars, but you can't be mandated to do anything. And I've already proudly imposed a 25% tariff on all foreign automobiles, any foreign car, like they do to us. This is going to create more jobs in this state and this country, and to help these automakers bring their factories home as rapidly as possible, I've just signed an executive order to give partial tariff rebates to any company that assembles its cars right here in the U.S. In other words, if they can't make it in time because they have to do it here, otherwise they haven't, I'm giving them a little bit of a break, right? They took in parts from all over the world. I don't want that. I want them to make their parts here. But I gave them a little bit of time. It's 15% and then 10% of the parts. So it's not so bad. Somebody would say, oh, well, that's a change in, but it's not. It's called a little flexibility. The guys were crying. They love it. Everything's good. But just in case we can't get everything in time, we gave them a little bit. So it's 15% of the parts and then it's 10% of the parts. We give them a little time before we slaughter them if they don't do this. Right. They're going to make so much money. They're going to have so many jobs. No, but jobs are way up. Jobs are way up. We're pleased to be joined tonight by Brian Panebecker. Do you know who that is? Of the Auto Workers for Trump. And Brian is a union guy, loves the unions, loves everything, but he knew that Trump was right. Brian, come up here, Brian. I got to see Brian. Look at the arms in this guy. Look at the arms. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great honor to be here on your 100th day in office of your second term. And I just want to remind you of something I told you at one of your last rallies before the election. I've got it on video. I've watched it dozens of times at home. After I was able to speak, I turned to you and I said, Mr. President, Macomb County is going to win Michigan for you. And that's exactly what happened. We had a margin of victory of 70,000 votes in this county alone. Thank you, Macomb County. You know, I met President Trump 8 years ago in Novi, and we had never met before. And as I was stepping towards him backstage to get my picture taken, I knew I only had 10, 15 seconds to say something to him before we got our pictures. Fortunately, my son was standing behind me, so I've got a witness to this. And I said, Mr. Trump, we've got the keys to the White House waiting for you in Macomb County. And he kind of chuckled. He said, oh, yeah, how's that? And I said, well, Macomb County is the home of the Reagan Democrats. If you come to Macomb County and you ask for their support and you get it, you might win Macomb County big enough to carry the whole state of Michigan. And that's exactly what he did. So I want to say thank you to the auto workers, everybody who works in the automotive field, the suppliers, every one of you, the truck drivers. Thank you so much for supporting the greatest president in our lifetimes. Now, I've got a little business announcement I want to make. I hope the president doesn't mind. But when I was backstage with him earlier and got my picture taken, I said, Mr. President, I've got a deal that you can't refuse. And he said, what's that? And I said, well, I'm writing a book, and it's going to be about my political journey. I've been involved in some things here in Michigan, conservative causes like Right to Work and the Michigan Civil Rights Initiative. And I said, you have a publishing company, Winning Team Publishing. It's run by Don Jr. and his partner. I said, I'll agree to use your publishing company if you agree to write the foreword to my book. He stuck out his hand and said, I'll do it. That's how you negotiate with the best negotiator in the world. So listen, I got one last thing to say. All of us have a job to do. Number one, we have to win the 2026 elections. It has to happen. Shree Thanadar, that lunatic Democrat from Detroit, is already threatening to impeach President Trump if they get the majority back. But luckily, right now, we've got good people in Congress like Congressman John James over here who are stopping that from happening. But listen up. So we got to get out, and we don't have any time to waste. We got to start talking to our friends, our neighbors, our family, our coworkers. The campaign for 2026 starts tomorrow. We've got to win that election. So the work is not over. The work has just begun. November 5th was not the end. It was the beginning of the golden age. And let's all tell President Trump how much we support what he's done the first 100 days in office. Oh yeah, I forgot. There's one other thing I wanted to say in front of all these thousands of people to President Trump. President Trump, I love you.
I do. That's great. Thank you. Good man. He's a great guy. You know, he was with me from day one, 2015, before 2016. He was there from day one. He got it. He said, we're losing our car industry. That's what he really cared about. He just said, I've had so many friends who were laid off. It's horrible. They lay us off like it's nothing. And the business went to China, it went to Japan, went to all countries all over the world. They're laying us off, sir. And he said, we can solve that. I told him, we can solve that so fast. He's one of the early people that got it. And we've solved it. We're going to be doing numbers that nobody's ever believed. We'll be the #1 in the world again. Nobody can believe it because we have been beaten up so badly by these countries that have rigged the whole thing. They fight like hell. They're smart. Their product is good, but our product's going to be a lot better. We're going to do something that nobody believes. And he saw it right at the beginning. So I appreciate it, Brian. And he was there at the I love the guys from the beginning. I love those early guys. Those guys are right there. They were there from the beginning. No, you're going to see numbers, and you're already seeing them. Look, you know, we have many Hondas coming in, and they're coming in. We let them build their cars here. We don't want them to build them in Japan. We love Japan. We don't want them building them in Japan. We want them to build them here. We want China to build them in here. We want them all to build them right in here. That's what they've done to us for 40 years, and they've drained us. Now we're doing it to them at a better level than they ever dreamed possible. To further rebuild the industrial bedrock of our country, I've imposed 25% tariffs on foreign aluminum and steel. It's keeping our steel mills going. I did that. If I didn't do that with steel in the my first term, we wouldn't have a steel mill in the United States right now, and everybody knows that. I did it for washing machines too, by the way. That's why I asked the people at Whirlpool. They were going to close. They were in deep trouble. I did it because they were dumping machines. I did a 50% tariff, was going to raise it to 100%. They didn't even have to bother. They became a tremendously successful company overnight. They were ready to close. They came to me with tears in their eyes in my office early on, first term. And we're doing it now at levels never seen before. And the results are going to be even better, because we've been abused by friend and foe. And in many cases, friend has abused us more so than foe on trade. So I want to just let you know, you're going to be very proud of this country very soon. And with my China tariffs, we're ending the greatest job theft in the history of the world. China's taken more jobs from us than any country has ever taken from another country. And that doesn't mean we're not going to get along. We get along with China. I mean, their tariff now is at 145%. So essentially, that's a big difference between that and zero. But I think it's going to work out. They want to make a deal, and we're going to make a deal, but it's going to be a fair deal. It's not going to be a deal that we lose $1 trillion a year like they did with Biden. That guy was so bad. He was so bad. Under Biden, and remember this, we were losing $5 billion a day on trade, and now we're making money. We're actually making money instead of, do you know what 5 billion? Think of it, Mike. How many pillows do you have to make to lose $5 billion? You could make them for 1,000 years. No, we were losing $5 billion a year. Now we've got it where we're making money, and the tariffs haven't even really kicked in. The 25% on cars have. But you know what that means? That means that you're going to make the cars. We don't need the cars from outside. When they say, oh, sir, we want to send you a lot of cars. I said, we really don't want your cars. We really don't want. We want to make our own cars. That includes Canada. That includes Mexico. who have taken a tremendous amount of our business. Canada's taken off a tremendous, like 10, 12%. Mexico is 32%. They took 32% of our car production. We don't want them to have that. We want that. Why are we giving it to them? Why are we subsidizing Canada $200 billion a year? Why are we subsidizing Mexico for $300 billion a year? There's no reason for it. I'm proud to be the president for the workers and not the outsourcers, the president who stands up for Main Street, not Wall Street. You know, I like Wall Street. I like Wall Street. I have a gorgeous, beautiful building on Wall Street, 40 Wall Street. Anybody? You want a little space? I'll get you some space real quickly. Now I've got one of the most beautiful buildings in the world on Wall Street, but I still like Main Street because you're Main Street. I want Main Street over Wall Street. And we want to protect the middle class, not the political class. That's all. I haven't done this very long. We want to protect our people. You know, this is the greatest, when you think about this, look, here we are. It's not even like election. It's after the election. And you have crowds like this, and to have them. We're going to do the commencement at University of Alabama. And they just called and they said, it's going to be the biggest crowd we've ever had we've never had a crowd like this. And I'm doing it at West Point, and they called and said the same thing. We love West Point. We love University of Alabama. We love Alabama. You know what I won Alabama by? Like almost 50 points. So when they called and they said, would you like to do the commencement? I said, okay, I'll do it. But they're going to have the biggest crowd they ever had by maybe 4 or 5 times. They told me, thanks for all of the things that we've done and to our policies. Trillions of dollars are now pouring into the United States because of common sense, just common sense. Apple, great company, was building everything in China. Now they just announced that they're spending $500 billion to invest in America, not in China. My friend Jensen from NVIDIA, they're spending, you know what NVIDIA is? They're spending $500 billion. TSMC, the biggest chip maker in the world by far from Taiwan, they're spending $200 billion in the United States. Amazon, $21 billion. Johnson & Johnson, $55 billion. DeMac, $20 billion. Merck, Stellantis, General Motors are putting in billions and billions of dollars, and many other companies. And as a result of our policies, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. They have a poll, a crazy poll, probably a fake poll too, so I don't know, I don't care. But first time ever, I think ever, that they're saying the country is headed in the right direction. Has never happened before. I don't know why. But we've accomplished more in 3 months than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or even 8 years. And we're just getting started. Believe me, we're just getting started. We're pleased to be joined by some great people. A person that number one, I have so much confidence in him. The fake news is after him, really after him, but he's a tough cookie. They don't know how tough he is, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. Pete. Wow, that's pretty good. How are the Houthis doing? Not too good, right? Our new administrator of the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, somebody that everybody knows, but this guy, you know, the show was a big success, but sometimes it hurts your image to have a television show. He's the top, he went to Harvard. I shouldn't even mention that anymore because that used to be a good thing. Today, it doesn't mean much. But he went to University of Pennsylvania Medical School, top student, top doctor, top everything. One of the smartest guys in medicine, also a big star, Dr. Mehmet Oz. Dr. Oz, thank you, doctor. Thank you. A man who waited today, just came here. He was all sweaty and grimy. I said, what the hell happened? He ran into the building because he wanted to vote in Congress. And I hear we passed the vote. John James by a lot, right? And thank you for making it here. He had a vote. I said, John, do me a favor, stay and vote. We're voting essentially on the big, beautiful, that gorgeous, big, beautiful bill. I said, you know, I want you there badly, but you got to vote, please. So thank you very much, John. Good job. Michigan House Speaker Matt Hall. Matt, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Michigan Senate Republican Leader Eric Nesbitt. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. Michigan GOP Chair Jim Runstead. Thank you, Jim. Good job. Nice tie. Thank you, Jim. Great job. One of my favorite people. I mean, we just had such success. You know, we had so many votes stolen in 2020, and then this guy came in, and they didn't steal him from his state, North Carolina, I told you. But they didn't steal him. He had 601 lawyers, and they had lawyers at every voting booth. And I said, who is that guy that did so well? Because we won the state. Other states, you know, they inched us out, you know, at the end, they just inched us out, crooked as hell. But this guy didn't let that happen. His name is Michael Whatley, North Carolina. And now he's the head of the Republican Party, RNC. And he's great. And I must tell you, he worked with a great woman, my daughter-in-law, Laura, who was unbelievable, who's got a very successful television show. That was a tremendous combination. That was a very important combination. Also the great, and you see him on television, he's unbelievable. Hey, Stephen, come up here fast. The great Stephen Miller. Do we like Stephen? Where is Stephen? Come here, Stephen. I love this guy. I love this guy. There is nobody smarter or tougher than Stephen Miller. Stephen, say it.
Who's enjoying 100 golden days of America? President Trump has achieved the most secure border in American history. He's fighting violent crime. He's fighting the drug cartels. He's cutting your taxes. He's cutting wasteful spending. He's draining the swamp. He's standing up to the radical left. He's standing up to the communists, and he's making America stronger than it's ever been. President Trump will never stop fighting for you, your children, and your family. And President Trump will make sure that in this country, not illegal aliens, not criminals, not gangbangers, but American citizens come first, last, and always. Thank you. And thank you, President Trump, for being the greatest president in American history.
He's great. This guy, he is something special. And he's been with us right from day one. Right from day one, Stephen's been there, right? He's been great. A man who put on about 928 rallies for me. We didn't have a glitch. Justin Caparel. Justin, thank you, wherever you are. He's probably backstage working. We did over 900 of these. Thank you, Justin. And Margot Martin. Does anyone know Margot? Beautiful Margot. I call her the world's greatest photographer. Where is Margot? Margot's great. Where are you, Margot? And she's very shy, actually. She's both beautiful and shy. Thank you. Where? Margot, come up here, Margot. Come up. Come on. You got it. This is the most beautiful. Now, look, I'm not allowed to say this. It's the end of my political career, but I'm going to say it anyway. She's the most beautiful photographer in the world. I don't know if she's the best, but she's the most beautiful.
Trump 2028, anybody?
People love Margot. And how about Caroline? How's Caroline doing? Huh? How is our Caroline doing? Caroline has taken the world by storm. She's taken it. And, you know, we have a man here that I don't know, but he's defending me all the time on CNN. And he defends me really well, but he can't go too far because if he goes too far, he'll get fired. I said, you're amazing. You can take it right to the edge. And he really does a good job. He's not allowed to go any further. He would be off, you know, if he really went totally crazy, which he'd like to do. But I think he's terrific. Scott Jennings. Where's Scott? Where are you, Scott? Come here, Scott. This guy, really, I've watched him for years. I don't know him, but he likes Trump. Come here, Scott. Oh, CNN, this is the end of Scott. No, who cares? Don't worry, we'll take care of you, Scott. Scott Jennings, really great.
Thank you. Michigan. We were flying in here today, and I said, look at these farms. I got to get a farm in Michigan, because when you own as many libs as I do, you got to put a place to put them all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Scott. And I also want to thank the rest of the Michigan Republican delegation for all the work they do in Congress and who are back in Washington working on the big, beautiful bill. We're going to name it, I think, the big, beautiful bill. In 100 days, I've taken more than 1,000 executive actions, and I could recite our accomplishments all night long. And by the way, did you just see what I did? Straws. I wiped out the paper straw, a little thing. These are the little things. Your sink. You ever try buying a new sink and no water comes out? Your shower heads, your toilets, the whole thing, it's a disaster. We now have it so you can have as much water as you want because it's not an environmental problem. You have areas that can't get rid of their water, and yet they put restrictors on them. You used to take them off, but now you can't because they're welded in, but now you don't have to worry about that because we've opened up your faucets and we've opened up, especially me. I don't like taking a shower where the water goes drip, drip, drip onto my luxuriant hair. I need a lot of water. I need everything I can get. I don't need to be under a shower trying to get water to come out of that damn thing. So we've opened up the shower heads, the faucets, the toilets, the washing machines that don't give you water. All of that stuff has been opened up, and we're giving you gas ovens, gas stoves, if you'd like. No more electric. You can have electric if you want. I have a lot of friends, they like gas better. You're supposed to sell your gas stove or get it, I don't know, who do you sell it to? Maybe another country, because we're the only country that would be so stupid to that. But the stoves now, you can have gas stoves, all you want. Put 4 of them in your kitchen. I couldn't care less. It's all common sense. People were so angry about that. Remember? They were all angry. Get rid of your gas stove. You have to go to electric. There's something they have with electric that's amazing. And by the way, Elon makes a great car, but not everybody's going to want it. You know, they all say, oh, well, Trump is, maybe he's under the thumb of Elon. Do you think Elon was happy about ending the all-electric mandate? I don't think he was too happy, but he's a great guy. You know, honestly, never said a thing. He says, let me just compete fairly. By the way, it's not fair what they've done to him, too. That is a disgrace. That is a disgrace. But he's a great guy, and he's really helped us. And, you know, they've saved $150 billion on waste, fraud, and abuse, Doge. So we want to thank him. He's an incredible guy. Anybody that can land a rocket ship. I saw this thing come in. I said, you got to be kidding. This rocket's coming in. You know, most of them go right into the ocean. But he lands it. I was on the phone with somebody talking, and I saw this thing coming in. It's spinning out of control, coming down. It's all burning. It's on fire. Looks like hell. I said, well, just another rocket going into the ocean. And then all of a sudden, you see the fire pouring out of the engines, and it starts to slow up, slow. Then it's straight. Then it starts moving over a little bit. Then I say, oh, no, it's hitting the gantry. It's going to hit through, and the engines go, straightens it out. And it gets hugged like you hug your beautiful little baby, right? And I said, who the hell did that? It was Elon. And he told me, you don't have a space program if you have to drop $1 billion machine into the water every time you fly. You have to save those suckers. So he does. He's an amazing guy, and he's a great American, and he loves our country, he loves you. And he's paid a big price to help, but I have a feeling it's going to end up being good for him, actually. I really do. I established the new Presidential Commission to Make America Healthy Again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's doing a good job, Dr. Oz, right? He's doing a good job. And he's a little bit different, but I want to tell you, he's a great guy. He's a great guy, and he loves his country. Just last week, Bobby announced that we're banning 8 major artificial dyes from our food supply. Sounds good to me. And on day one, I created that right now, very successful Department of Government Efficiency headed by Elon. That was a big thing doing that. I mean, the numbers are really incredible. Doge. So it was a very big thing. We terminated the left-wing money laundering scam known as USAID. How about the money that was going out? How about the money that was going out? Billions and billions. They were giving individual people billions of dollars. Can you believe it? People that had nothing, they got $1 billion. One got $2 billion. $2 billion for the environment. Had $100 in the bank. You got $2 billion. Not 2 million. You know, 2 million would have been a lot. 200,000 would have been a lot, but it would have been fine. $2 billion. And we directed all federal workers to return to the office in person, or unfortunately, they're fired. You're fired. You know, some of these guys got their golf handicap way down during the so-called time where they're supposed to be working at home. You know, they weren't working at home. Who the hell would work at home? How do you work at home? It's terrible. And we found a lot of them where they had second jobs. They were just taking us for a ride. They're all taking us for a ride. The foreign countries were really taking us for a ride, both on military and on trade. But we stopped it, and we're stopping it. I withdrew from the unfair and ridiculous Paris Climate Accord, where we were paying trillions of dollars. We would have spent numbers like you wouldn't believe, and China wouldn't have spent anything. Russia wouldn't have spent anything. India wouldn't have spent, but we would have spent over $1 trillion. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization, where we were paying $470 million, and China was paying, with a population quite a bit larger than ours, thank you, the problem with us, we have no idea what size our population. They allowed so many people on under Biden, but let's assume it's 325 million. China's 1.4 billion. We were paying $470 million, and China was paying $39 million, and China was running the whole show. So I said, no, thank you. I withdrew. They offered me to sign up at $39 million. I still said no because it was sort of scammy. I didn't like it. And Biden came back in, and he signed up. And they knew we could have signed up for $39 million or less. He came back in and he signed up for the same as what they were paying before, almost $500 million. Now, that's a lot of money, but it's nothing compared to the trillions of dollars that they waste. But that's the way it is. They know they can sign up for less. They don't even care. It's like they don't want to have the conversation. And you're talking about a $450 million difference. But they came up right in the first week. He said, no, we're going right back in. Okay, I can understand that. But you go in for $39 million. They could make a deal for $39 million. They signed up for $472 million. And I withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council, which is totally disgusting. In 3 months, my administration has brought home 46 American hostages and citizens detained abroad. We paid nothing. We don't pay. We don't pay. You know, if you pay, those kidnappings go way up. We don't pay. Every time Biden brought people back, he'd pay $6 billion. $6 billion. $6 billion. 3 times they brought back 3 hostages. Oh, how is it? Well, I think it's a fair deal. What do we pay? $6 billion. Wait a minute. For 3 people, $6 billion. $6 billion. It's not right. I mean, it's just not right. They have no idea. Honestly, grossly incompetent, stupid people. More than Biden brought home in 4 years. We brought more back in just a matter of weeks than Biden brought home in years. And he paid a fortune and we paid nothing. We got Mexico to turn over 29 of the biggest cartel leaders in their country. And we're charging Mexico and Canada and China big tariffs because of the fact that they've allowed fentanyl to come in and poison our country. They're paying a lot of money for that. And because of that, you'll watch, it's going to stop. It's already slowing down. Within 6 weeks, we also apprehended the terrorists responsible for the attack that killed 13 American service members, known as Abbey Gate. I got to know them. I got to know those families very well. They're devastated during the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan and brought him home. I mean, we brought this guy home to America. We got the guy that did it. We got him. They were looking for years, but we got him. It took us to get him. We got him in the first month. Brought him home to face justice. And it was that gross incompetence that probably led Putin to go in and attack Ukraine, because they were never going to. That was never going to happen. If I were president, the Ukraine-Russia war would have never, ever happened, not even a little chance. We have ended the weaponization of law enforcement and fired Joe Biden's handpicked. These are pro-crime U.S. attorneys, except if it's a political person like me. You know, I was under investigation more than the late, great Alphonse Capone. Al Capone was the greatest gangster of them all. If he had dinner with you and if he didn't like you, you were dead. You were a dead person. You'd be under a foundation somewhere in a nice big building or sports center going up. And I spent far more time under investigation than Alphonse Capone. How about that? You like that? I didn't like that. I didn't like it. We removed senior FBI officials who were corrupt and misdirected the resources they sent to SWAT teams after grandmothers and J6 hostages, what they did to those J6 hostages. And they did nothing to the people that took over Portland and took over Seattle. They literally took over a big portion of Seattle, or in Minnesota, Minneapolis. You remember that disaster where they said, no, this is a peaceful rally. The CNN lunatic anchor, the guy has about the personality of an ant. This is not a man meant for television. He said, no, the rally is quite peaceful. Then he got hit with a brick or something. And over his shoulder, the entire skyline of Minneapolis was burning. You remember that one? The entire skyline was burning. And I have to be careful because that gentleman right there, one of the greatest purchasers of advertising in the history of the world, Mike Lindell, there has never been a better purchaser. He comes from Minnesota. Oh, congratulations. He's the greatest purchaser of ads in history. If he would have bought my ads, I could have had 10 times more ads on. There's never been, is there any station that doesn't have a pillow ad in? But he's great, and he's doing great, and he's got a beautiful new wife and all that stuff, and I'm proud of you. Look at him holding hands. They're still holding hands. I'm very proud of him. That's nice. Usually by this time, in a lot of people I know, Mike, by this time it's over. It's over. Look at you holding hands. I love that. I saw that. I pardoned hundreds of political prisoners who had been grossly mistreated. We created a brand new DOJ task force on anti-Christian bias. It's a big problem. I stripped the security clearances of the disgraced intelligence agents who lied about Hunter Biden's laptop from hell. Remember the laptop from hell? Remember the laptop from hell? When you had the 51 agents, they said, oh, Russia did it. Russia did it. Russia did everything. Russia did it. And it was all like horrible, disgusting stuff. You hadn't seen the worst of it, but it truly is the laptop. By the way, a very brilliant reporter for the New York Post wrote a book called The Laptop from Hell. You ought to read that book. It is really, it tells you the facts, okay? It tells you the facts. Miss Devine, the great Miss Devine, she wrote an amazing book, actually, The Laptop from Hell. We also terminated the clearances of the Biden crime family and Joe Biden himself because he's corrupt. And I banned all government censorship and restored free speech in America. We have free speech. We didn't have free speech. I ended all of the and I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders male and female. And the really easy one, this was the easiest one I had. I banned men from competing in women's sports. Okay? You know, they always say that's an 80-20 issue. No, it's about a 97-3 issue. I also proudly banned the use of puberty blockers and other chemical and surgical, right? All these mutilations of our minor youth, I banned it all. I signed executive orders to abolish critical race theory and transgender insanity from our schools and from our military. We fired the woke boards of visitors at our military academies. We have great people running our military academies now. And I've directed the reinstatement of patriots expelled from our military by the Biden vaccine mandate with full back pay. After years of missed targets, our military suddenly has the best recruiting numbers in 30 years. Every branch is setting records. Don't think of that. 6 months ago, you and I were reading that nobody wanted to join the military, right? Now, we've just set a record of recruitment that's stuck. We have a waiting list of people that want to go into our military, and we have a waiting list including for police and firefighters, because our country has spirit again. We have spirit. Our country has great spirit again. Last month, I signed a historic executive order to begin the process of eliminating the Federal Department of Education and send education back to Michigan. We're going to send it back to our states, right? We're going to send it back to our states to run. I mean, how the hell bad can we do? We're like in last place. They do badly, you're going to do better. They're going to do great, though. I think they're going to do great. I'm very proud of it. Linda McMahon, by the way, is doing a phenomenal job. And I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America. I ordered the release of all remaining files related to the assassinations of Presidents John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr., and they're all out there. And I made myself very unpopular in Mexico by renaming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And we are restoring the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley in Alaska. He's a very good president. And you Italians are going to love me, because just yesterday I brought back Columbus Day in America, especially for Italian Americans who were so badly treated by its removal. I also signed an order to require proof of citizenship to vote in American elections. That was easy. And the Democrats fought me on that. Think of it. Why would they want no voter ID? Because they want to cheat. Why would they want to have no proof of citizenship? We don't want it. We trust everybody. No, they want to cheat. That's all they want to do. Think of that. No voter ID. In Michigan, you must never allow ranked choice voting to be here. Never. We've done this all in 14 weeks. That's one. Remember that. 100 days. We've done all of the things that I named and a lot more. And we're counting, and it's going to be better. Wait till you see the results of some of the things that we're doing. In the coming weeks and months, we will pass the largest tax cuts in American history. And that will include no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. It's called the One Big Beautiful Bill, and it will be the biggest bill ever passed in our country's history. It will include the biggest tax cuts, regulation cuts, military supremacy, and just about everything else. We will cut more than $1 trillion in wasteful and unnecessary spending. And in the next fiscal year, it'll all be done. We're going to have something that you won't even believe. We will end inflation, slash prices. We've already ended inflation, raise wages, and give you the greatest economy in the history of the world. That's already happening. With our tax bill, the average family's take-home pay will be at least $5,000 more than it was just a couple of months ago. We will always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors with no cuts, and we will defend Medicaid for those great people that are in need. House Republicans are working to invest more money in Medicaid than we spend today. The only thing we're going to cut is the corruption and the crooks that take advantage of some of the illegal schemes. So we want to preserve Medicaid for the most vulnerable, for our kids, pregnant women, the poor, and disabled Americans. We will fully and permanently secure our border. We will make the largest ever investment in U.S. military and build the Golden Dome missile defense shield. That's going to all protect us so we live a long and beautiful life. It's going to be made in Michigan, and it's going to be made right here in the USA. And 1 hour ago, I just made a speech at Selfridge Air Force Air National Guard Base, announcing that we are saving it, keeping it open, including thousands of jobs with a brand new state-of-the-art F-15s, which are coming to Selfridge. And we will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect they so dearly deserve. I will defend religious liberty, and I will defend the right to keep and bear arms. We will celebrate the 250th anniversary of America's founding in 2026, and we will teach our children to love our country, honor our history, and always respect our great American flag. And one day soon, American astronauts will plant the flag on the planet Mars. That's going to happen very soon. Every single day of my administration will continue to live by the motto, promises made, and you've seen it before, promises kept. From Marquette to Midland, from Mackinac to Saginaw, and from Lansing to right here in Macomb County, we stand on the shoulders of red-blooded Michigan patriots. What great people. I love you, Michigan. Who laid the railroads, worked the factories, tilled the field, forged the steel, fought the battles, and won the victories that built the Motor City and made this state into the pride of the America Midwest. And you know what? We're going to make it better than it ever was. It's already happening. You see what's happening. Michigan is the state that gave us the assembly line, Motown, Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, and put the world behind the wheel of an automobile. And under our leadership, we are making it greater every single day. And the automobile business in Michigan will soon, and it's going to happen really soon. It's already happening. They're signing left and right because of my taxation and tariff policies, which are policies of common sense and genius, be bigger and stronger and better than ever before. It's going to get better than ever before. And it won't even be close. Companies will be pouring back into Michigan. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And on November 5th, 2024, it was hardworking patriots like you who saved our country. So thanks to your help, your love, and your support, after 100 days back in the White House, America is a free, proud, and sovereign nation once more. And our magnificent destiny is closer than ever before. It's closer than ever before. You have no idea how close it is. Our golden age has only just begun. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never, ever surrender. We will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. Together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. I love you, Michigan. I love you. Have a good time. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless you.
All right, as you see there, we were just listening in to President Trump as he was holding this rally to mark his first 100 days in office there within this second term. He was holding this rally there in Macomb County, Michigan. This is his second speech that we've seen him give today. He was also giving a speech earlier today to the National Guard and was able to talk to those folks as well. We were able to play that out for you here on Live Now from Fox. But as you see there, a very full arena there in Macomb County, Michigan, as several supporters are on hand to listen to the speech for the president. They're talking about everything that he's done since taking office 100 days ago. So he talked about a litany of issues, including immigration, and the policies that he's now implementing to what he says make America safer as well. We also heard him speak on several other things having to do with the economy and inflation factors. And we'll be breaking all of this down just a bit later as well with political analyst Brian Sobel. We'll be talking with him about the first 100 days that we've seen in this second presidency for President Trump and some of the factors that he's been focused on. Also talking about the history of the first 100 days, why it is so important and why it's seen as this significant marker there in a president's term. Wanted to bring that to you here on Live Now from Fox. We brought it to you completely without any commercial breaks. We're going to take this opportunity to slide away for our first one of the hour. Stay right here with us on Live Now.
Mr. Trump